It's the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show New Year's Eve edition. We were going to have an in-studio guest today. He called in sick. Of course he did. Well, we love Ron Stein, and apparently he's a little bit under the weather and said he couldn't make it. And so we said, okay, well, we're just going to do a little tap dance. Now, imagine that in your mind before we get up and do that.
Oh, boy.
So it ought to be a fun show, don't you think? When's the last time you went tap dancing?
When I was drinking.
Were you?
Yeah.
That was last night.
Yeah,
I was going to say, that wasn't too far ago.
At any rate, coming up on the show, we're going to talk amongst ourselves.
No way.
Mars reviews the GLS, that's the Mercedes-Benz GLS 580. Plus, we'll have the events calendar, and later, look at the stories making automotive news headlines. The usual stuff on the last day of 2022. Howdy, along with Mike out of this world, Mars, King Conrad DeLong. We need more Jeff Zekin.
Yep.
I'm Don Armstrong. Glad you could join us on this Saturday. We're all back. Last week we had the Best Of show. Did you listen in?
I did.
Did you listen in?
No.
Because you already did it. You did the show.
You already knew everything that was on it.
Yeah,
They cut you out of that part of the program.
Yeah. So at any rate, you have us this morning, and we are live here for the next 3 hours.
The 3-hour tour, Gilligan.
Exactly. And just so you'll know, even though we have a 3-hour solid live show that we do on Saturday mornings, Mr. Mars takes the show back to Neaterville, cuts it all up into 30-minute segments, and then we post a different segment every day of the week except on Saturday because
we do 3 hours on Saturday.
Because we do 3 hours on Saturday. So you get 6 30-minute episodes on the weekend. The dog, what is the Sue's doing?
Well, she's looking for your napkin. You dropped your napkin, and she's trying to get your napkin.
She's smelling the napkin.
She's sniffing your biscuit.
Yep.
It's going to be one of those shows, ladies and gentlemen.
That was funny, though.
It was funny.
So you heard Alec Udell got a ride for the 24 Hours of Daytona.
Yes.
He's going to be driving a Porsche.
It's a good-looking car, too.
992 GT3R for the David Brule Group. And
he's one of 3 pilots on that.
Yeah, he's pretty excited about that.
Well, I would be, too.
Very cool.
Yeah.
A lot of famous people have driven in the 24 Hours of Daytona.
And that's not too far. It was like 6 weeks? 6 weeks, I think.
No. It's
5
only
weeks?
a couple of weeks away.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, Daytona 5, or the
24
Hours of Daytona is the end of the month.
Yeah, I tried to get a hold
End
of
of
him
January?
to see if we could talk to him before,
January.
kind of see what he was doing to get
Alec
ready
Udell?
for all that. Alec, yeah.
Call him right now. You're not doing nothing.
Got him to answer the phone in 3 days. So,
Yeah, it's great.
He's got you blocked.
yeah, he sees us coming.
At any rate, I don't know what I was going to say, but I'm sure it was
going
good.
over
It
the
was
show.
very good, though.
Yeah, well, we don't have much actually planned for the show because we're going to talk to Ronnie Stein, but he didn't show up, so now we've got to tap dance our way through 3 hours.
That's what we were doing. We were dancing.
We're dancing again. Did you have yourself a merry little Christmas?
We had a very merry little Christmas. Rochelle came to town. Angela's
cool.
brother came to town. And both of them flew back to wherever they were going. No
Did
problems.
Santa Claus come to town?
Santa Claus came to town.
Did you get anything fun and exciting?
Yeah, well, Rochelle coming is fun and exciting.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
You know, she's,
Yeah, the kids are always fun to have. Yeah, ours are over, too, and it was great. Good stuff.
So did Katie come to town for Christmas?
she's in the bedroom right in there in the house.
She's snoozing.
She's snoozing, and yes, and I had a blast yesterday. We went Christmas shopping because her mother's bunch are having Christmas today because they haven't all been available.
Connected for different reasons,
So
yeah.
Katie's going to go. Matter of fact, I have to leave at 11 o'clock to take her over to her mother's house. So she'll be spending a few days over there. She's here all this week.
Yeah, it was good to see her last night.
Yeah,
Don't forget to tip the waitress. Sorry, it's another joke.
I didn't get no.
What are we going to do? What's the Pilates in the church? What's going on with the word? That we're going to
Pyre.
That's
Burn that joke.
yeah, exactly. Sacrifice that one,
burn
buddy.
something. But at any rate, I've been driving some interesting cars this week and last. I just turned in on Thursday, the Mercedes-Benz. I'm looking at Mars GLS 580. I had a 580 as well, but it is the new electric.
Oh, yeah.
EQS or something like that.
I think it's an EQS, yeah. I can't keep up with all these GS,
All the nomenclatures, acronyms.
Well, at Mercedes, those alpha digits mean something to the Mercedes people. They don't mean anything at all to me. But.
Right, or anybody else. I
But
mean,
you're
it's not
a
as if you got a 396 Chevelle SS from 1970.
With a 4-speed. But you're a Mercedes guy. You own a Mercedes.
Yeah.
Or your wife does.
GLC 300. G, I think, basically means it's an SUV. GL means it's an SUV. C is the size of the SUV that it is, because they actually had a GLA, which was smaller than this. So the size of the SUV. So
Size is important.
Susie's opening the door.
But I will tell you that Katie got in it. She went, wow, it's like a spaceship. And it is. The entire...
From an astrophysicist saying
Yeah, I
that.
was going to say.
From somebody involved in the space program.
the
pretty big compliment
entire
there.
dash is basically a solid piece of glass that goes across. It's got a huge...
Think 20 years from now, how are you going to get it fixed?
Yeah, you're not. You just have to throw it out.
Go to Ace Hardware and have them cut one.
Cut
Piece
one.
of glass.
Oh, piece of glass. Yeah. I was going to say, I'm familiar with... Never mind. But I will tell
that
you...
would be cheese, Don.
I will tell you that I was really worried because it's obviously you have to plug it in to charge it. It has no gasoline, anything on it. And all I have here is 110 on the front porch. And at work, the charger at work, 110, thinking, oh, dear God, I'm going to have to go stand in line or try to find a fast charger that works somewhere. Well, I didn't have to, because what I did was plug it in at night when I get home from work, so it charges all night long, and then drive it to work. Then when I get to work, plug it in. And even by the end of the day at work, it's still not at 100%.
Well, isn't that normally what people do anyways? That's what I would do. When you stop, you plug it in.
Well, but they tell you, like on your cell phones, to not do that because that
Shortens the battery life.
gives like a cycle memory to the battery, so that the battery is always expecting you to plug it in when it's below X% charge.
Mars, is it easy for you to take your headset off and go over there and close the door? I'm feeling a little chill and damp. It's very froggy outside.
Is that dank?
No, but there is a dampness out there.
Yeah.
When I went to the...
Thank you so much. What?
Oh, it was here.
Yeah.
It was already here.
Yeah. But at any rate, so it was really, the ride in that thing is like none other. It is like butter. Oh,
You got an electronic suspension in it?
yes. Not an airbag suspension. It's all electronic, and it is just unbelievably good.
So how long did you have it for?
I had it for a week, and I could easily spend the rest of my life in that car.
Uh-oh. Did you, when you were outside, did you look up in the air? Were pigs flying? If Don's like, I could spend the rest of my life in an EV. Where's Buzz when you need him?
Buzz.
Hey, Buzz, did
Tune
you
in.
hear that? Pigs are flying.
Well, I will tell you that it was a great car, and I was thoroughly impressed. Of course, for $120,000.
Well, there you go.
But I would say it's a 3-row SUV. I did not even put up the third row. I didn't even put it up. Why? Because I would never get back there because I wouldn't be able to get out of there. I mean, it's back in the back.
But you have a grandchild on the way.
I do, but the grandchild would not be in the third row anytime soon.
Okay, so the EV you just had, I was not in, but the one before that was also a Mercedes, wasn't it?
That was the GLS that
Okay.
Mars is going to review
That's the one
today.
that we went to the concert in.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was nice too. It was
It was
too
very
much.
nice.
Too much stuff.
It can overload you. As a matter of fact, there is a story, and that Consumer Reports did. We had them talking about overload of too much stuff in the new cars.
You mean like the technology in the
Yeah,
new
yeah.
cars? I believe that.
Push this button for that, and this button for this, and that one does that, and overrides this button. There's like,
Well, and
that's just
and then
the
you can just
second
talk
row.
to the car.
Yeah.
Did the EQS have a
Drove
audio?
It drove itself. Yeah, you can tell it whatever you want it to do. The only thing that I was very disappointed in was that, and I did the story 2 weeks ago, it does not have an AM radio. So I was not able to listen to the Michael Berry show like I usually do in the mornings going to work. No AM. There's no AM radio. The problem is the interference from the electrical motors is too much
On the
for
AM
the
side.
AM radio. Now, even back in the day in Corvettes that had a fiberglass body, they put a shield around the distributor and all the way down,
The secondary ignition system.
all the way down into the spark plugs
yep.
to shield the radio.
And there were different wires too.
Yeah, it was a big mess. It had thumb screws on it. If you wanted to do anything in there, it took you a half an hour to get the shield off of
And it was
it.
all chrome and pretty, but
Yeah, exactly. What's the problem over there, Mr. Mars?
I'm having a problem getting in to get Mr. Ainsley on with
Oh boy.
it's me, my password.
Ainsley says, forget AM, just stream it.
Exactly.
Well, I understand that, but I want to be able to I don't want to have to jack with it on my phone.
You want to push a button
I
and
want
listen.
to, I'm going to listen on the radio. No, I got it. I mean, I understand how that.
No, AM radio is dead.
Well, it has been for a while. There are a few stations that I will listen to. I listen to KPRC Radio AM.
Yep. So
and I will listen to KTRH AM. And that's pretty much it.
Was that 749.50?
Yes.
I listen to 700.
Yeah, I listen to 700.
700. And then there's also
790, which is the sports show.
correct. I'll listen to those stations. 790.
You
not
listen
so
to
much.
sports? I didn't think you were.
I don't, but I did during the Astros games.
And then there's the Ka Kuku Ka. You listen to that.
I don't listen to Ka Kuku Ka.
Okay. You should.
I'm not going to go there.
It's a Spanish station.
Okay.
Yeah. Very good, Jeff. That was good. Do you speak Spanish?
See?
See. You need to work on your stuff over
I
there.
am. But
Did you find out the password?
I'm changing the damn dadgum password.
Yeah. So Mr. Mars has passwords on this computer, that computer.
You gotta see
none
the-
of them are the same.
I wish you could
None.
see what I'm looking at down here. There's
Yeah, about
7 of
passwords.
them. 7 passwords down here.
And he's trying to get into his.
And they're from 1942.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. The fog is lifted. Susan's barking.
She
wants in.
She wants in. So you're going to have to stop your password renaming over there.
And all of this is so we can get Mr. Ainsley on, and he could tell us about his
Oh, my
experience with Southwest.
And I will tell you this, that it is a story that you're not going to believe. Oh, my gosh. They went skiing up there in Colorado and apparently had a great time at skiing.
Yeah, he posted some really cool pictures. He really did.
But trying to get back, oh, my God.
They were wearing helmets.
Need to put on your headset there, your microphone.
They were wearing helmets.
Well, yeah.
George Skelton says the new password is biscuit.
If I could get it there, I'd be happy to make it there.
Yeah. He can't even log in to do anything. No surprise there.
Biscuit and gravy.
Biscuits and
Oh, that
gravy.
sounds good. We had biscuits this morning. They're good.
We did. You know, the
And
trick
cheese gravy.
Yeah.
cheese gravy. The deal with biscuits and gravy, I'm very picky about my gravy. It's kind of like chili, no beans. I'll take some
Well, I've
cheese
never had beans
In my gravy.
my cream gravy either.
in my chili. You like beans in your chili?
Nope.
I'll go either way.
What? It's filler. There's another one that's rice. Got to put a big scoop of rice down in the bottom of the bowl.
I can do that, yeah.
I can do it.
Oh, big scoop of rice is gumbo to me.
Yeah. And then onions.
You got to have
Or
some
chives.
onions.
Got to have raw onions, though.
Yeah.
Correct.
Some
Get a
raw
little
sweet
crunch
onions,
in there.
yeah.
We ought to have the in-wheel time chili cook-off.
Follow us for cooking tips next week.
Right now, we're giving
George is saying we ought to get Southwest to advertise on the show.
We ain't going anywhere with that.
They're going to want to after we listen to Ainsley.
Yeah, we won't be going anywhere with that.
Yeah, it is an ugly, ugly
Because
story.
I was texting a little bit with David during it, and he was not a happy camper.
No, he was not. And there were a lot of expletives that I heard over the phone when he was telling me the story.
Yeah, and he's got older teen sons that probably didn't appreciate it either. You know?
Yeah. The cursing, I'm sure he's heard a few words from them.
No, I'm just saying, just time wise, and they're, young kids are always wanting to do something else, or they've got plans, so they probably ruined a lot of their stuff too.
I'm sure. Oh my, we keeping you awake?
Mm-hmm. Oh boy.
Apparently not very good, though.
Yeah. How is your automobile situation? I know that your Ford Transit van blew up and was not repairable, and especially after it was wrecked.
Yeah, we popped the motor, got that fixed, and then I got T-boned by a guy who ran a red light.
Yeah, and then
that totaled it.
Then the insurance company decided that it was
had
beyond
enough?
repair.
Well, it was still drivable. I mean, it was just
But it went down the road kind of like a V-shaped
Cattywampus.
vehicle.
kind of a little bit bent in the middle, but it was still drivable. And then when we brought it to the body shop and they peeled the side off of it where the impact was, the body shop contacted the insurance company and said, "Uh-oh, we have to peel the roof off to replace the side panel because the way Ford overlaid the roof on top of the side panel." And that's what totaled it, because when they added the cost of peeling the roof back, it exceeded 75% of the value of the vehicle.
Wow.
And so you've been driving the old company Reliable,
Tahoe.
the Tahoe. But that's not the company vehicle out there.
No, that's my personal Yukon. The Tahoe's at the warehouse right
Shop.
But it's still running and hanging in there at,
Oh, yeah.
1 million miles now?
now. 210,000.
Do you carry product in your personal or no?
A little bit, not much.
Emergency stuff?
Yeah.
Well, what do you got in there? We need to rummage through there and see if we can get something out
That's
of
what I
there.
was thinking.
Well, probably always have some 44K.
That I was thinking the same thing. If anybody out there hasn't used it, you got to use it because that stuff is good. It's very, very good. I like it. We've all used it.
Listen, it takes care of those wrinkles under my eyes. Great.
Well, so do cucumbers, but that's different.
The bags under his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you should fly Southwest because you get 2 bags free.
Yeah, for them. Then they take them off the plant, send them
And lose 'em.
somewhere else.
Yeah, and then they'll be in Pittsburgh.
You want to do that.
By the way,
Then
tomorrow is the first of the year.
yeah.
And typically we would have Chrome and Coffee. Mm-hmm. Be
I
the
mentioned that last
the first
night, too.
Sunday.
Yeah.
And I texted Craig, and I have not heard back from him. So I'm not exactly sure whether they're going to have a Chrome and Coffee on New Year's morning. That would be, I don't know.
I wouldn't believe they would have it.
It'd be a great time to come to the Avalon Diner because somebody else can make you your hangover breakfast.
I'm not going to have a hangover breakfast. I'm not going to have a hangover. I try to avoid those now at my age.
Thing I hate about New Year's is the fireworks.
And so does the dog.
At midnight and everybody's out there.
and you're trying to get your rest. Your beauty sleep is very important to us that you get that.
Now, do you live in the city of Houston?
Not in the city, but I live
Unincorporated?
in Houston, unincorporated.
So you
Actually,
call
up
the
in-
police, Houston police come?
No, constable.
Constable.
When Angela calls the police, who comes?
Constable.
Mr. Mars just woke up, I think.
I think so.
No, I've
He
been
cackled.
listening.
What
thought
are
that
you
was
doing
kinda
over
funny.
there? Did you find yourself a new password?
Yes, I did.
Yeah?
Biscuits.
Biscuits.
I should have made it biscuits, but I didn't.
Do you know how to spell biscuits?
Well, I have it where George sent it.
BISKITS.
So I'm going to tell David 8:30.
It's not B-I-S-K, biscuits.
Pronounced Biscay.
Aaron.
Aaron.
Aaron. Yeah.
Uh-huh, Aaron. Denice.
Denice. What levity.
Have you seen that? You've never seen that?
No. I'm figuring it's got to be part of a movie somewhere.
No, it's not actually. It's a couple of guys that do these skits, and they spend a lot of money on it. They hire actors, and they're well done. It's on YouTube. Key and Peele.
Yeah, they used to be on TV on something.
Did they?
Till they got kicked off.
Probably.
Got canceled.
Like Soupy Sales.
That's our goal.
Soupy Sales.
Send me $1.
See me $1.
Yeah. We're always trying that.
And
here.
you know, if every kid sent him $1, it'd be $30 million. Because back in the day when that show was on, there were only 3 networks, and
So you had to watch.
yeah, and everybody watched Soupy Sales anyway.
Get up and change the channel for me, will you?
I was the remote.
Exactly.
Well, you just sit close enough to the television. All you have to do is just get up, turn it, and then lay back down.
I don't know. I was told if you sat too close to the television,
Ruin your eyes?
it'd ruin something.
There was something else that you could go blind with. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, you made your memory go away as well.
And brain function.
Sure wish we had a guest.
Wish we had a guest too. How is your Cadillac doing?
Cadillac's doing good. She's filthy. Oh my gosh, she's dirty. So next week after the
dirty
Monday,
girl?
filthy girl, filthy girl.
Filthy girl.
I think maybe Tuesday, Wednesday when the weather clears, I'm going to get her washed. So
Get out there and wash it yourself.
I don't do that anymore. Too old. No, I'd rather.
Well, and it's black, so you really don't want to take it through one of the.
Well, I do.
the
No, they do a
grinder-
good job. They do a good job. The
the
place I
grinder
take it
brush.
to, they're very, very good, and you
With all the scratches all over it.
No, nothing like that. No, it's got a good gleam to it. So, but yeah, it's running good.
Well,
Christmas was good. Can't wait for tonight. I got a bottle of fresh muscatel. Yeah, we're gonna do some muscatel.
Muscatel.
Going all out.
Yeah, buddy.
That's that imported stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a brown bag. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
It's only because you couldn't find any Annie Green Springs.
Yeah.
Or
Annie Green Spring.
or
MD
Boone's
2020.
Farm.
Oh, you can
Yeah,
find Boone's Farm.
MD 2020 is the kicker.
Oh man.
Boone's Farm. Yeah, it's the topper. It's
Well,
the
you know what
topper.
the MD stood for, right?
Say again?
You know what the MD stood for?
Mogan David.
Mogan
Logan
David,
David. Yeah.
Mad Dog.
which was considered. You know, they do a high
Top
level.
of the line back
they
in
do
the
a
50s.
high level
yeah.
wine.
My
Mr.
mother
Mogan
drank,
or Mr. David?
my mother drank that Sundays when she was cooking after church. She would put on her Frank Sinatra and Mogan David and little vino, and it was fun.
Yeah,
Good
we
times.
used to drink it at lunch back in the day.
when you're in 7th grade.
in high school.
Yeah.
Well, I was inducted into the world of wine with Boone's Farm.
Boone's Farm out of a trunk of a Chevy.
Yeah, I don't know what car it came. No, it didn't come out of a trunk. No.
Oh, it was the speakeasy type.
Well, yeah, it was somebody's house where they opened the window and said,
yeah.
"Here you go, $2."
Speakeasy, yeah.
Yeah,
$2 and no ID.
down off of Dowling.
And no ID.
I was taking no ID. No, I was taking Stan home. He lived down there, and he says, "Come on, I'll treat you." And boy, what a treat that was!
Gosh.
We glug that Boone's Farm. He had the Strawberry Hill, and I think I had the apple.
Oh, we can look straight up David's nose.
Oh, really? Is he on there?
Yeah,
He's on
well,
there.
working on it.
He's on the pre-screen
Did you cut the hairs out of your nose, David?
with a mower.
With a mower. We're trying to get you all set up
With
here
a weed whacker
with the weed whacker, so we can actually put you on the screen.
and let you tear into Southwest.
Yeah.
Talk to me.
Okay, so there he is.
I know, but he's not talking.
Oh, David. There
There
you
you
are.
go.
We're going to zoom you in, buddy. There you go. There's David.
Can you hear us, David?
I can hear you. That was not an intro. It's like, are you there? Are you there?
Hello.
Kind of like Southwest. Are you there?
Ladies and gentlemen, the Enwil Time chief engineer and cook and bottle washer, David
And the remote
Ainsley.
engineer.
Yeah, and the remote engineer.
And travel goddess.
But you know what? It's 24 minutes after the hour, and we really need to get a couple of things done. So
Thanks for joining us, David.
We'll see you next week, buddy.
We appreciate you getting up out of bed and combing your hair, putting some
It's
clothes
just like
on.
Southwest. Hey,
just like so.
We're going to cancel your segment.
We get you all wound up and right up to the gate and go, never mind.
Good luck. talk.
That's funny.
It is
That
fun.
is.
Yeah, we just talked ourselves right through the car review,
We did.
the events calendar, and everything.
Do I need to go to the break scene?
We're going
I'll
to
preview
go to
the
the
break.
break. So we're going to give you a whole segment, David, down at the bottom of the hour here
Wow.
to tell this Southwest story, which, by the way, and I put my daughter on the phone, and she tells him, I didn't have any problem. Walked in, and the entire terminal was just fine. There were people splayed out on the floor,
They put
in
a
the
red
sleeping
carpet
bags,
down for her.
and the bathrooms were cleaned, apparently, from the time
Because
that-
there's nobody else flying Southwest.
all the flights were canceled, but her flight was not. So, but at any rate, so you just stay right there, big boy, and we're going to be back with you here in just a minute, okay?
All right.
Get another cup of coffee.
Yeah, get that. So we're going to go to break now. And before we do that, I wanted to tell you that the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show is available 24/7 through the iHeartRadio app. Just look for the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. We also video stream on Facebook, YouTube, and InWheelTime.com. 30-minute podcasts are at your fingertips on over a dozen of the most popular podcast outlets out there. The In Wheel Time Car Talk Show continues right after this quick break. Your friends and hosts of the Quarterly Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In at the Lupi Tortilla in Katy want to thank you for participating in this year's events and look forward to another exciting year. You'll hear about the next Tailpipes and Tacos right here and online soon. Next time you're in West Houston, be sure and stop in at the original Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex near I-10 and Highway 6, or the Katy location off I-10 and the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard. Traveling east to Beaumont or northwest to College Station, you'll want to have Lupi's award-winning beef fajitas and frozen margaritas. There's always a celebration at Lupi Tortilla. Lupi founder Stan Holt and his wife Sheila are car people through and through. Both are winning racers on the NHRA drag racing circuit and have a collection of cars that everyone appreciates. You'll see one at the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In. The next event will be in the spring at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex on 99, the Grand Parkway and Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 in Katy. We'll give you all the details soon here on the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show and online. You own a car you love. Well, why not let Gulf Coast Auto Shield protect it? Houstonian John Gray invites you to his state-of-the-art facility to introduce you to his specialist team of auto enthusiasts. We promise you'll be impressed. Whether you're looking to massage your original paint to a like-new appearance, apply a ceramic coating, install a paint protection film, nano-ceramic window tint, or new windshield protection called ExoShield, Gulf Coast Auto Shield is where Houston's car people go. Curbed your wheels? Instead of buying new, why not have them repaired? How about a professionally installed radar detector? Gulf Coast Auto Shield does that too. Get a peek inside the shop and look at the services offered by getting online and heading to gcautoshield.com. Better yet, stop by their facility at 11275 South Sam Houston Tollway, just south of the Southwest Freeway, and get a personal tour. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is your place to go for all things exterior. Call them today, 832-930-5655 or gcautoshield.com. The award-winning In Wheel Time Car Talk Show is available on the most popular podcast channels out there in 30-minute episodes. We realize our 3-hour live show can be difficult to catch in its entirety, so now you can listen every day to a convenient, fresh 30-minute episode. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Audible, along with a dozen more. In Wheel Time has the most informative automotive guest interviews and new car reviews, along with popular features including Conrad's Car Clinic and This Week in Auto History, along with automotive news headlines. Our live broadcast airs every Saturday, 8 to 11 Central on InWheelTime.com, the iHeart app, and on YouTube. Be sure to say hello when we're broadcasting from the Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In, Autorama, and the Houston Auto Show, among others. Now, it's easier than ever to hear about all things automotive all week long. You're invited to join fellow car enthusiasts in becoming part of the ever-growing In Wheel Time Car Talk family. Don't forget those 30-minute podcast episodes on your favorite podcast channel. From Studio A in Houston, Texas, welcome to the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Coming up,
He's adjusting the light.
what did you say?
I said
David's adjusting the light.
Get the lighting on him good.
Got them good Latins.
You know, he's a professional.
Is it okay if I...
Please do.
Here, I can take care of this. Now, welcome to the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Coming up, we're going to have an interview with David Ainsley. He's going to tell us about his Southwest Airlines experience firsthand. We're also going to have some of the stories making automotive news headlines this week. And we're also going to do the events calendar, and Mr. Mars has a review of the GLS 580 from Mercedes-Benz. Howdy, along with Mike, This World Mars, King Conrad DeLong, and Mr. Jeffrey, we need more, Zekin. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad you could join us on this Saturday, the last day of 2022. And we're kind of glad to see it go, to be honest with you. I don't know about you.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
You done? I'm done with this.
Well, I want to read the disclaimer about 2023 to see whether or not I want to go there or not.
What's the disclaimer?
No, just what to expect for 2023.
I don't even want to think about
Need to
that.
read the
just
fine
yet.
print.
If I'd have read it about 2020 and 2021 and 2022, I'd have passed.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
there's that. Joining us live now via Zoom is David Ainsley, and our chief engineer and cook and bottle washer. Anyway, David had a wonderful experience. Well, not actually, it was kind of a good thing and a bad thing. He took his boys and they went skiing in Colorado.
Did you go Breckenridge, Dave?
Yes.
How was it?
Oh my gosh, it was absolutely amazing. We timed it where we missed the storm. We got there before the storm, and then the storm hit, and we figured, oh, we're good. After the storm, we figured there'd be some flight delays during the storm, which we didn't care about because we were, on the side of a hill. But
And a lot of fresh powder.
a lot of fresh powder. It was great. It was it's unbelievable. Boys had a good time. And we were due to come back on Christmas Eve at about 5 o'clock.
On
PM.
Southwest Airlines.
On Southwest Airlines.
Out
So
of Denver Intergalactic Airport.
Yes. And we, drove through the hills, and the rent car was all good. And the roads were all slushy and snowy. And, man, we're just like, wow, we're going to be back home, this evening in Houston.
In the 10-degree weather.
Oh, yeah. But that's fine. Well, we were minus 30 up on the hill, so it was all good. So 5 o'clock hits, and they go, well, there's been a little delay. Oh, okay. We're good with the delay. 7 o'clock comes. Well, still a delay. And I'm thinking, well, at some point they're going to call it and cancel this flight. So they waited until 9:30 at night when everything is closed. All of the restaurants in the airport, it's Christmas Eve. We're sorry, but there's my bag on the airplane. All of our bags are on the airplane. And they tell us it's going to go to Houston. Can we just get our bags back? No, they're going to go to Houston. Oh, okay.
So they could carry your bags, but they
They
couldn't carry you?
That's correct. They said it'll be on the next flight. And it's like, well, what about us?
We don't care.
Yeah. So fortunately, we found a hotel, and we couldn't get rebooked until Monday, which is the day after Christmas. So we're going to spend Christmas now in some hotel in Denver.
At a dump motel near the airport.
Near Aurora.
No, actually, it was actually very nice. It was a new hotel.
Okay.
And, no complaints there.
So you're like the McAllisters in Home Alone 2.
That's it. Except Monday, we get there bright and early, 10 o'clock flight a.m. And plane comes in about 9 o'clock, the one we're supposed to get on. Pulls up to the gate. Everybody gets off. Crew gets off, and they go, well, flight's canceled. Why? No crew. It's like the crew is right there. They're walking away. No crew. I don't get it, but okay. And the terminal at this point at 9 o'clock in the morning is wall-to-wall people.
And they're all on fire.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're all in line to rebook their flight for like Thursday or something,
Gosh.
Now, David, when you rebooked, did you do it online or did you have to do it in person at the desk?
You had to do it in person at the desk. You couldn't get on the phone. You couldn't. The online thing was, just wasn't happening. So I said, I kind of need my job, so I need to get back to Houston.
God.
And so it was a Saturday, Christmas Eve. I had met somebody in line waiting to rebook his flight.
John Candy and the polka band.
That's it. That's it. John says, "Hey, let's rent a car together and split the ride, 16 hours, eight hours each, and we'll get home."
God.
They don't rent cars one way now for some reason.
Yeah, it's a
They do, but not when everybody wants to take their cars out of town.
Right.
Well, sure. There would have been 0 cars left in Denver.
Correct.
So we couldn't get a car.
And you'd already turned your car in the other day.
That's correct. Yeah. And I was at the point of, I'll just buy a car and then drive it to Houston and then sell it.
Well, based on what you paid for 3 airplane tickets back to Houston, you could have bought a fairly decent car, used car, drove
we
it back.
Actually found, yeah.
You found one?
It was $3,500 Avalon. It probably was a rust bucket from being,
In Denver.
in Denver.
Denver, yeah.
But anyway, we went to another airline, paid several $1,000s, and
That would be United.
United, yeah.
$3,200
For 3 tickets.
3 one-way tickets back to Houston at the last minute, but you got on.
We barely got on.
So their planes could fly to Houston, but Southwest
well, it's
couldn't.
because of the crew.
Yeah. They had invested in computer systems that actually put people on an airplane.
Uh-huh.
And so, not to totally diss Southwest, the gal at the gate, she's like, "We're as frustrated as you." And it's like, no, honey, I don't have any clothes for 3 days, so you're not as frustrated as me.
And I don't live here.
Yeah, and there's no
Right.
place in the airport to buy clothes if you wanted to.
And I got to go pee.
Well, I felt bad for the families that had young, kids, because they, where do you get formula when at Christmas Eve?
Yeah.
I mean, nothing was open. No restaurants, no grocery. I mean, it's all closed. And Christmas Day.
Man.
What
I was trying to get Don's daughter to come, make us a meal, but
make us a meal. Yeah. Well,
Does Katie cook?
Katie does not
No,
cook, but she lives about 30 minutes from the airport, but I couldn't get a hold of her.
In Denver, everything's 30 minutes from the
The
airport
airport.
because the airport's so far out in the boonies.
Yeah. And then, if you ever landed there, you taxi for about 20 minutes to get to the terminal building.
Looking at all the white tents.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nuts. Well, we're glad that you're back.
I'm glad we're back too. The United thing, I booked it online while I was standing in line. We didn't have any bags to check in. And the computer sent us to Aspen and then Aspen to Houston, which turned into almost a major problem because they had a little delay for whatever reason going to Aspen. And
Isn't that another big ski place
it's another big ski place. And
where they do lots of snow?
Oh, yeah.
But that wasn't the problem. The problem was the flight was delayed, and he had to change planes.
Right. Yeah, we had to go. Yeah,
And make a connection.
There was a layover to get the connection, and then all of a sudden the layover shrinking time-wise to 0, and then it's like we were going to miss the connection. So I found a supervisor and very helpful gentleman, and he found a gate agent that got us on a direct flight, and we had to literally run a half mile through the airport. To your point of this airport is huge, and barely got on the plane.
But
we made it.
yeah, and they've got the last 3 seats on
Oh,
the
yes.
airplane that were available.
It was packed.
And they're holding the plane till he gets there. So as you're walking to your seat on the plane, everybo's giving you the evil eye.
stink
'cause you're
eye, yeah.
Like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
Who does he
But
think
How
he
special
is?
is he?
That is David Ainsley.
All they said was hurry up and sit down so we can leave.
And you did, and you made it back. What a ugly tale that was.
So you made it back on what day?
Monday night.
Now,
Day after Christmas.
And have you heard anything from Southwest about any kind of reimbursements yet?
Well, they did say, publicly that they're going to do they'll pay for food, they'll pay for hotel and alternate travel. So I'm hoping to get, reimbursed for the flight. So
You should have bought that car. They could have bought it back from you.
right.
yeah.
But the employees, I read a long story from a pilot, and unfortunately, they didn't invest in any infrastructure over the last 20 years. When the CEO that just bailed a year ago,
And
they
so,
just didn't upgrade their systems, and the employees were actually begging to get things upgraded because they had their own issues in managing getting on flights themselves.
Oh,
Right.
for their
so they could make money.
Yeah.
scheduling.
Right.
It's the
Yeah,
DOS.
the whole scheduling thing. Yeah, so
And how much is this current CEO making? How many millions of dollars a year? I think I think his days are numbered. If for no other reason than from a standpoint of here's the new face of Southwest. He's going to be used as the scapegoat, whether he did anything or not.
Well, David's the new face.
yeah, maybe they said it's going to be a 3-year infrastructure timeline to rebuild that.
Well, they got to find the
and
software.
somewhere they're gonna get some
figure out
government
how to
money to
implement
do
it
it.
without shutting down.
I know a guy that could
Then
do
they
it.
got Mayor Pete on their butt too. So
Excuse me?
Oh yeah,
Mayor Pete.
That's not a good choice of words.
Mayor,
Oh, sorry.
No. But Mike can fix it. Mike,
And
you got-
were your bags in Houston when you got there?
they were so.
Surprise,
son wanted
surprise.
Well, the United flew us into Bush. It was the other airport from where we took off from.
Of course.
So my car and my bags were at Hobby,
40 miles away.
40 miles away. My girlfriend picked us up, took us over there, and my son really wanted to look for his bag. And I thought, there's probably about 50,000 people looking for their bag. But we went ahead and walked in there, and they had everything secured, roped off, and within about a minute, I look over and see my bag.
Wow.
So I was pleasantly surprised. So we got that and got one of my son's bags was there, and then we checked, and the other bag was on a truck coming in from Denver.
on a truck.
Wow.
So they're driving bags in
On a
because-
truck with John Candy.
Yeah. The funny,
Singing polka,
Yeah,
polka, polka.
Get a crew cab truck, and y'all could have rode with them.
and I think
Exactly.
alluded to this earlier, that Katie, who lives in Denver, took a flight 2 days later on Wednesday to come here. And I thought, you're not going to make it. It's going to be canceled. I know it. So she had made all the arrangements, had the ticket well in advance. She says, no, I'm going to go. And the worst thing that's going to happen is I'm going to take my bags that I'm not checking.
Right,
I'm going to carry on. And I'll have to take the train back to where her car is. No. Got there. There's nobody in the terminal. None of that chaos that he dealt with 2 days earlier. None of it. She said, well, I went through there, and it was just like a normal day. Pre-checked, went up to the gate, showed them my telephone with my ticket on it. Boom, got on the airplane, and she was here. I think the flight was about 15 minutes late getting here.
I have a feeling Southwest is going to have a lot of open seats for a while.
And actually, Katie said last night when she was telling the story, the plane was about half full, and about 15 or 20 were crew members going to wherever they needed to go.
Yeah, deadheading in. And then the story you told that when she was flying in, you knew that her plane was coming in
Right.
and you were waving at her. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, because obviously I work at the airport, so I thought, okay, well, we ought to be able to see that plane coming in on runway 31, and bigger night, there she is. Watch her land, and the plane taxis right next to us where we're parked over there. And so I told the pilot, I said, just wave. She's on the right side of the plane. So I texted her, I said, look out the right window. Plane takes the turn. We're standing there waving, and of course the pilots in the 737 are going, "Hey, good to see you." You just keep moving.
They're holding
on.
up their glasses, cheering, "Hey!"
They're going, yeah, we're glad to be in Houston, too.
Exactly. So I mean, all that worked out great, and she didn't check any bags, so we didn't have to wait through that mayhem down there.
Well, thank goodness for you, David, that you actually had room on a credit card to put $3,200 for your airfare on United.
He sold one of the kids.
Yeah,
Think
there's that.
probably some
the-
people weren't in that position.
Yeah, I feel bad for them. One of the most frustrating things was as we're sitting there Christmas Day in the hotel, and give the boys credit, they did not complain one time. I was
That's fantastic.
pleasantly surprised.
Awesome.
But we sat there, and there's plane after plane taking off. It's like, well, why can't we get on those flights?
Yeah, sad. Well, we're glad that you're back,
Really?
and sorry for the. I talked to David when he was going through all of that. Don, you're not going to believe this. No, and it's truly a tale. I will say that. Well,
Christmas
David,
to remember.
yeah, no doubt. Well, David, it's great
So-
to talk to you, and thanks for sharing with us.
Well, good to be here, and always good to be a part of the show. And
A
on
Christmas,
this side of
a Christmas you'll never forget.
It's a Christmas miracle,
But
Timmy.
it makes for a good story and teaches patience and persistence. Because if I wouldn't have found these people that that I needed to get on this flight, we'd probably still be fumbling around somewhere.
Yeah, and your boys, give them credit. You got some good boys, too.
Yeah.
All right, David. Thank you. Have a happy New Year, you party animal, and
You flying out anywhere?
I'll see you at the club tonight.
Sounds good, sir. Let's do it.
All right, brother. Talk to you later.
All right.
Well, there you have it.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
So moving on here on the N-Will Time Car Talk Show. See, we bring you everything.
We try to.
We try to. We're an around-the-world kind of show.
Medical.
Yeah, all of
Planes,
that.
trains, and automobiles.
There you
Pretty
go.
much. That's it. Let's get a shot at the events calendar. Conrad, we've kind of put that off for the next half
So
hour.
tonight, starting at 5 p.m., is the Brookshire Brothers Cruise In Montgomery, Texas.
Tonight,
Tonight.
Tonight.
Saturday night, New Year's
Saturday
Eve.
night, New Year's Eve. Brookshire Brothers
Cruise
in
In.
Montgomery, Texas.
Okay.
And then tomorrow morning at 8 to 11 a.m. is a Classic Cars Coffee and Donuts at the Whitehall Cafe in Navasota, Texas. Also tomorrow from 2 to 7 p.m. is the New Year's Day Slab Fest at McGregor Park off of Calhoun Road in Houston, Texas. And then at noon tomorrow is the New Year's Cruise 23, and they're going to meet at the Chase Bank at 2641 Rogerdale Road in Houston and go on a cruise. Cruise around, just drive around, not go to Galveston and get on a cruise and go out in the ocean or the
They
Gulf.
could.
Well, thank you for clarifying that.
While you were looking at me, I was like, oh boy, I got to explain this one.
You got to explain a lot, buddy.
And then also tomorrow from 8 to 11 a.m., the Wimberley Cars and Coffee at Blanco Brew off of Ranch Road in Wimberley, Texas.
Nice.
And then on the 4th is Freddy's Steak Burgers in Katy, and that starts at 5 to 7 p.m. Also on the 4th from 5 to 8 p.m. is the weekly cruise-in at the Hard 90 Bar and Grill, 705 North Main Street in Maypearl, Texas.
Where is Maypearl? It sounds like it's too far away.
It's near Mayberry.
May Pearl.
It's the next town over.
And then Wheels and Wine
Mount Pilot.
and Bordeaux Vino Wine Bar off of Research Boulevard in the Woodlands. And finally, from 8 to 10 p.m. on the 4th is Park and Pizza at Mod Pizza off of 14th,
Free pizza.
off of
Mod Pizza's
1463 in
good.
Katy,
I like it.
Texas.
All right, time now for this hour's car review, kind of doing things out of order a little bit. Mr. Mars had a chance to drive the GLS 580, and here now is his review.
Yes, sir. This is the 2022 Mercedes-Benz GLS 580 4MATIC. Now, this is the larger GLE class inside Mercedes-Benz, and there's a whole lot of stuff on it, so I'm going to go
GLE
really
or
quick.
GLS?
Well, the G
GLE
class.
okay,
And so we're talking about the GLS vehicle inside the GLE class. There's a 450, a 580, and a 63, and this is the third generation that was and it was actually the third generation in 2020. So a ton of stuff on this thing. So it has the night package as an option package that comes with this. So it's got a blacked out front splitter, grill, trim. The roof rails are all blacked out. It's got an LED lighting package, including the tail lights, adaptive high beam assists out front, It's got illuminated running boards, which is a really nice touch. It's got acoustic glass, which contributes to the quietness of that vehicle. Got a big roof spoiler on it. Got a power tilt sunroof that's standard, but we had the optional panoramic roof running on some 21-inch AMG style 5-spoke wheels. So it's got 2 or 3 other little small AMG touches in it that kind
Could
of
you
gives
move
it a little
that
bit.
microphone? Can you not hear yourself popping that? And
Nope, I don't.
okay,
Try that. Is that better?
I don't know.
Well, then let me pop that a little bit.
Yeah.
I get to going fast.
All right, go.
So on the inside of it, this has got some really cool stuff here. It had the black leather with the brown wood trim, really wood trim inside this vehicle. The first row, all leather, had heated and ventilated seats, but it also has heated armrest and door panels on this vehicle, and the top of the center console is also heated.
Which was nice when it was 10 degrees outside.
Absolutely. And the second row is also got heated seats with heated armrest as well. Really, there's some nice touches in here that you got to kind of look for, but it's really cool when you find them. Heated and cooled front cup holders, whether you want it hot or cold, just like the seats. It had a 12.3-inch touchscreen. That's where you're going to find your Mercedes-Benz experience and all your convenience controls. Had a 12.3-inch widescreen. Now, this is a digital instrument cluster, and they kind of roll together. We were talking about that before the show, how it rolls together and makes for this just monstrous big screen up there for the dash. To make all this stuff go, up under the hood, it had a 4.0-liter V8 mild hybrid, and it produced 483 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque, backed by a 9-speed transmission. So this thing had plenty of get up and go. EPA says you should be looking for 16 on in the city, 21 on the highway, combined for about 18. I actually got 17 across the 182.4 miles that I drove that vehicle.
You only drove it 182 miles?
That's it. It was
Because he didn't have to come here.
No,
last
because we had
Saturday.
tailpipes and tacos that week that I had it. So I had the in-wheel time
Equipment.
truck. I drove it over here,
Yeah, the
so it
equipment.
kind of cut it down. Now, and one thing I really liked about it, it was very quiet. Now, minimal road noise. That goes back to that acoustic glass and all the things that we had in it to kind of keep all that down. The base trim price on this vehicle is $101,250.
That's base.
As tested, $111,995. And if you're looking for something to compare this to, you might look at the BMW X7, which starts at $74,900. The Infiniti QX80 starts at $71,900. And there's a Lexus LX600 that I've never seen, but I did find it. It starts at $86,900. The other thing I wanted to mention about this particular vehicle that I thought was rather interesting, it has a 4-year, 50,000-mile warranty on it, instead of the 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on it. So there's a lot of nice stuff in this car, and it's really a nice driving car.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Pardon me.
And 111,000 is in the price range for a luxury SUV.
You get into that class, absolutely.
Some of the stories making news headlines this week. Tesla buyers who waited months for their new car have had an unusual choice for much of the past 2 years. Keep the new electric vehicle or sell it at a profit to someone with less patience. But the days of the Tesla flip are numbered. Potential threat to new car prices that are already getting cut. Prices of used Teslas are falling faster than those of other automakers, and the clean energy status symbols are languishing in dealer lots longer, according to Reuters. The average price for a used Tesla in November was $55,754, down 17% from a July peak of $67,297. The overall used car market posted a 4% drop during that period, according to Edmunds. The used Teslas were in dealer inventory for 50 days on average in November, compared with 38 for all used cars. Fuel prices are easing, interest rates are rising, Tesla output is increasing, and EV competition is growing, leading used Tesla prices to fall faster than the market and creating a cascading effect on prices of new Teslas. Tesla last week doubled a U.S. new car price cut to $7,500 for Model Ys and Model 3s delivered this year, adding to investor jitters about softening demand. Tesla's hardly alone. The U.S. used car market thrived as global vehicle manufacturing hit snags, but it now is facing a used vehicle recession, according to one analyst, after the used car seller CarMax last week reported an 86% drop in third quarter profit.
Wow.
Yikes.
Well, and then the write-off in value of their inventory. That's the other thing that really hammers the large used car operators. If the prices of used cars go down 10%, the price of their inventory goes down 10%. And if they carry $1 million worth of inventory, they just lost $100,000 in value.
And if they've got more in the floor
And they've
plan,
done
too.
nothing. Yeah, and they've done nothing other than watch the price of the
market.
used car change.
Yeah. Maybe if you're in the market for a car, maybe the
Good time.
used car, it'd be a good thing to look at. And after a topsy-turvy 2 years in which COVID-19 stymied efforts to hold a large, fully in-person show, event organizers expect more than 100,000 attendees when the Consumer Electronics Show kicks off Thursday, January 5th. In Las Vegas, those visitors will find an emphasis on electric vehicles in particular and electrification overall. BMW and Stellantis will unveil EV concepts that underpin their production plans. Set in the not-too-distant future, BMW will showcase its new class next-generation platform, which it expects to build vehicles upon starting in 2025. Stellantis will highlight its Ram EV pickup, scheduled to launch in 2024. Wow. Both BMW CEO Oliver Zipse and Stellantis CEO Carlos Tavares are set to deliver keynote remarks. Approximately 275 mobility-related companies were expected at the show, with organizers saying additions were expected.
It's mind-boggling to think of how many auto manufacturers are introducing new cars at the Consumer Electrics Show the last couple of years.
Yeah, and not at the big SEMA show, which used to be the place that they did all that.
Or
Yeah,
at the
and some of
Detroit Auto
those that
Show
are
that
at-
doesn't really
Yeah,
exist anymore.
CES are not going. They pulled out of SEMA, and they're now going to be over there at CES.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Consumer electronics, yep.
Right. Well, they are electric. All right. Time for a quick break now, and we're going to be right back. You're on the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show on iHeartRadio. Your friends and hosts of the quarterly Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In at the Lupi Tortilla in Katy want to thank you for participating in this year's events and look forward to another exciting year. You'll hear about the next Tailpipes and Tacos right here and online soon. Next time you're in West Houston, be sure and stop in at the original Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex near I-10 and Highway 6, or the Katy location off I-10 and the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard. Traveling east to Beaumont or northwest to College Station, you'll want to have Lupi's award-winning beef fajitas and frozen margaritas. There's always a celebration at Lupi Tortilla. Lupi founder Stan Holt and his wife Sheila are car people through and through. Both are winning racers on the NHRA drag racing circuit and have a collection of cars that everyone appreciates. You'll see one at the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In. The next event will be in the spring at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex on 99, the Grand Parkway and Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 and Katy. We'll give you all the details soon here on the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show and online. You own a car you love. Well, why not let Gulf Coast Auto Shield protect it? Houstonian John Gray invites you to his state-of-the-art facility to introduce you to his specialist team of auto enthusiasts. We promise you'll be impressed. Whether you're looking to massage your original paint to a like-new appearance, apply a ceramic coating, install a paint protection film, nano-ceramic window tint, or new windshield protection called ExoShield, Gulf Coast Auto Shield is where Houston's car people go. Curbed your wheels? Instead of buying new, why not have them repaired? How about a professionally installed radar detector? Gulf Coast Auto Shield does that too. Get a peek inside the shop and look at the services offered by getting online and heading to gcautoshield.com. Better yet, stop by their facility at 11275 South Sam Houston Tollway, just south of the Southwest Freeway, and get a personal tour. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is your place to go for all things exterior. Call them today, 832-930-5655 or gcautoshield.com. The award-winning In Wheel Time Car Talk Show is available on the most popular podcast channels out there in 30-minute episodes. We realize our 3-hour live show can be difficult to catch in its entirety, so now you can listen every day to a convenient, fresh 30-minute episode. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Audible, along with a dozen more. In Wheel Time has the most informative automotive guest interviews and new car reviews, along with popular features including Conrad's Car Clinic and This Week in Auto History, along with automotive news headlines. Our live broadcast airs every Saturday, 8 to 11 Central on InWheelTime.com, the iHeart app, and on YouTube. Be sure to say hello when we're broadcasting from the Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In, Autorama, and the Houston Auto Show, among others. Now, it's easier than ever to hear about all things automotive all week long. You're invited to join fellow car enthusiasts in becoming part of the ever-growing In Wheel Time Car Talk family. Don't forget those 30-minute podcast episodes on your favorite podcast channel. Howdy.
Hello.
It's the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Just ahead, had a chance to drive the Dodge Challenger Hellcat, and I'll give you my thoughts on it. We'll also have the cruise-in calendar. Later, Conrad will have This Week in Auto History, along with the stories making automotive news headlines. And I think at the bottom of the hour, we're going to look ahead and see what car manufacturers are doing for 2023. And that ought to be an interesting row for us to paddle down.
All right.
All right. Howdy, along with Mike out of this world, Mars, King Conrad DeLong. We need more Jeff Zekin. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad that you could join us on this New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
The New Year's Eve edition. I hope that you enjoyed last week's kind of review, if you will, of some of the segments of our show in the past year that Mr. Mars put together.
Very good,
It
Mike.
gave us a day off, which was unusual. It was an unusual weekend for me because
Well, it was Christmas Eve,
well, it was Christmas
so it was
Eve.
nice to have that off, and we could spend it with our families.
Well, you were on call.
I was on call. Yes, I was. But I didn't
they
get
didn't call.
called. They didn't call, so that was good. And this weekend I'm not on call. Yay me. All right.
Call me.
Irresponsible. Call me.
Undeniable.
Undeniable.
What'd you do with the money?
What money?
The money
Money
your
for
parents
singing
gave you
lessons.
for singing lessons.
You're such a jerk.
Can
probably,
you,
probably all went up in smoke.
Can you sing tenor? 10 or 12 miles from here?
Oh,
Mr. Mars, are you not joining in?
Tough crowd. Tough crowd.
I'm just trying to think of a third punchline there, but that's the two basic ones there.
Well, we know somebody that can give us more punchlines, and that would be Richard Tomlin.
Yeah,
Down at Apex Auto Works in Alvin. Richard, a pleasant New Year's Eve to you.
You as well. Should be fun this year, huh?
Yeah, it should be. Can you hear us, by the way?
Oh yeah, we're good.
Oh,
Good.
fantastic.
Well,
Yay.
we've worked really hard and diligently
All year.
trying to get the audio back to you so you can hear the questions without going, what?
It's always a challenge out here.
I know.
and we appreciate your
Patience.
your coming on the show with such short notice of an hour and a half.
Yeah. We're supposed to
It'll
have
be all
Ron
right.
Stein in the studio today, and unfortunately, Ron was
under the weather.
Little under the weather, and we don't. Whatever he's got, we don't want it.
Exactly.
We don't want it here.
It's
so
best. It's
all
best.
good. Yeah. So Richard's down at Apex Auto Works in Alvin, Texas, or as Conrad likes to call it, out in the country in Alvin,
West Alvin.
West Alvin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why are you smiling?
Oh, it's interesting, the comments and conversations about Alvin and where we're located. Anybody that's in the area, the way way everybody knows, is kind of like the old joke about where the barn burned down 15 years ago.
Yeah.
That's where you take a right-hand turn.
Yeah.
So we're in what used to be Mr. Reynolds Paint and Body, and it was that for 35 years before we showed up. But we don't have a sign out front. We all of our work is for people that we know and toys and friends that have been around for years. So nobody knows where we're at. Basically, you've got to have an address or come looking for us.
Kind of
Gotta be in the
you got
know.
kind of a stealth operation
yeah.
down there.
Yeah, but
Highly
we-
secretive.
We can see your Jeep Grand Wagoneer from SEMA parked behind you.
Man, I'm still fighting that direct injection on this thing. Being a little difficult, to put it politely. My first time dealing with direct injection of this type of standalone system, and we're about 400 psi short on what the computer wants. So,
Oops.
still fighting it.
Wow. Well, that and there, you don't find any YouTube videos to tell you how to fix it.
Probably not.
We've watched a couple, but they have not yielded results yet. It runs off of a cam style pump, and that pump should push it up to 1,000 psi. And we've tried two different pumps, and we're only getting about 600, 630. So
Why
now
is
it's like,
that? I mean,
third pump?
does it have something to do with the power to the pump?
No, it's cam driven basically. So it's got power. It's
Oh.
got power.
It's a mechanical fuel pump. The high pressure pump's a
Yeah,
mechanical
and that's the whole
fuel
thing
pump.
we're facing is that the rear tank for the factory, what was the Jeep, the AMC stuff, is removed by a complete standalone system that's built for this motor. So it's back to a call from the manufacturer Monday, Tuesday, and see what we can figure out what they advise us at that point. I beat my head against the wall for the last couple of days, so it's time to ask for some advice.
Well, let me ask you this. Why is it a mechanical pump and not an electric pump like the rest of the world?
Well, there's two fuel pumps on it. So there's what's called the lift pump, which is a pump that delivers, and tell me if I'm correct, Richard, it's a pump that delivers from the fuel tank to the engine.
All right.
And then in the transition to the engine, it goes into the high pressure pump. So the lift pump's probably 60 PSI, 50, 60 PSI.
Oh, I thought that supplied the pressure to the actual.
No, that just supplies the fuel, and then the
I got you.
direct
Well,
injection.
the most interesting part is this GM system will actually recognize if it doesn't have the fuel pressure from the lift pump to the direct injection pump, and then the direct injection pump takes that, magnifies it by 10. It's a 10-to-1 pump. So it requires 60 there, and then basically it builds it to your 600. But we're not there. We should be getting a 15, 16-to-1 effective rate.
Oh.
And that mechanical pump is pretty much everybody's GDI uses a mechanical pump for the high pressure because it's going to have.
But it's not a pump that's on the side of the engine like an old pump, is it?
No,
But
it's
under the intake.
It's under the intake manifold.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Because still, if it's cam driven,
interesting
it's got
how what's
access.
old becomes new,
How
'cause
weird.
It does work like an old pump, really.
And then Richard's talking about they need a 1,000 PSI at idle or at low load. At high load, it's probably pushing 2,400 PSI.
Wow, that much.
Oh, yeah.
For just that little bitty squirt of fuel.
Well, on a gasoline direct injected, it's more than just a little bitty squirt of fuel. It's got to overcome combustion pressure because the injector is actually spraying inside the combustion chamber like a diesel injector does.
But it does. Well, I guess it does. It does work. Has to work into the compression stroke because if it, how else is it going to fire?
Correct.
Yeah.
And then
And the other thing that I've learned, Conrad, you tell me if I'm wrong here, because what I've also told is this is part of this issue we're seeing with all the valve failures in the modern engines. Is they're burning so clean that they're not actually cleaning the valves off anymore. Basically, your shit's building up on the valves, which is where our BG products come in.
Right. Well, there's no fuel wash on the back of an intake valve like on a carbureted car or on a port fuel injected car. You can apply a cleaner in the fuel tank to clean the back of the intake valves. On a gasoline direct injected, there's no fuel wash on the back of the valve. So what you're seeing in some vehicles, some of the GM, and I think it's on the Corvette, they're doing a dual injection system. So they have a port fuel injection and a gasoline direct injection, and that way they can apply a fuel wash on the back of the intake valves. Ford does it as well on their 5-liter Coyote.
Who would have thunk that?
Well, so now you've got 16 fuel injectors on your car. What
could possibly go wrong?
Yeah.
I mean,
and the GDI ones are not cheap. They're $400 or $500 a piece.
All for a safer environment. It's
See,
great.
I would be concerned that the fuel pump, the delivery pump that you're talking about, the lift pump, it producing enough volume for all that. It's only running at 60 pounds. Everything else is running at 1,000 plus.
But all it has to do is get it out of the tank up to the other pump.
Yeah, it's a
but if it's taking it faster than what it's being delivered,
it's not because it's only a little bitty squirt of fuel. It's the
Well, in some instances, it's what I call a stutter squirt. The way I've had it explained to me by some of the engineers, it's kind of like, remember during World War II when all of the paratroopers would jump out of the back of an airplane, and that could be one of the scenarios of how the fuel is applied to the engine. So it's not just one squirt. It could be multiple squirts of fuel in each combustion event.
For each stroke?
Mm-hmm.
For each stroke.
Interesting. That's wild.
And that's why the pressure is so high.
Oh, see, I would have never guessed that. I thought it was just one squirt and it was done.
There's a lag in between the stutter then.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So it may have
Can you adjust the lag? Can you adjust the stutter?
Inside the computer you can, but you can't manually adjust it.
No, but inside the computer. Well, it's computer-driven anyway.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. And that's part of why the pressure is so high, and it's also part of why the injectors are so expensive.
Yeah.
Because they have to be able to manage that. And, GDIs are relatively prone to oil consumption, and GM LS or the LT, which I'm assuming that's what you have in this, is the LT,
LT, yep.
motor, are very prone to oil consumption. And the oil consumption is caused by basically fuel wash of the cylinders that create blow-by, that create crankcase pressure, that pushes that oil vapor in the crankcase through the PCV system into the intake manifold, which is what makes the valves dirty.
And what causes the fuel wash?
What causes the fuel wash? My opinion is the way the fuel is applied. You know, because
it's also, I
back
believe,
to
the
it.
fact too that it's a lower pressure, so the atomization is not as fine as what you're seeing, and the finer atomization creates a better flame front.
Well, I have the answer for you.
I have one
Go.
as well.
Put a carburetor on it.
Well, there's that too. There's that too.
Put
Or-
an old Holly 750 double pumper. and let
You
it
don't
eat.
need that much, I
Richard,
don't
they
think.
do make EV conversion kits.
There are conversion kits for it. Like most recently, we did that FI Tech. It looks like a Holly.
Yeah.
It uses all the Holly fittings. All the air cleaners are the same, but it's basically a 4-cylinder injection system. They were able to put 4 injectors on that thing large enough to run a 502 Owens big block. So
So why wouldn't
It's-
you go with something like that? A still fuel injection.
well, the Jeep, as you know, if you guys have been keeping up with gentlemanracer.com, is assigned to a 13-city tour starting in California in a month and a half.
Yeah.
And it will make its way all the way over to New York and then down south to Florida to finish it out. So it's going to be driven, I think Mike was saying, it's like 5,700 miles for the trip.
Okay.
So
Well, what
we
has
don't
that
know
got to
who's
do with it?
constructing other than probably Laura Ashley staff or maybe some media. So we just want to make sure that they can turn the key and there will not be any problems.
Well,
So is
Hop
this
in and
going
go.
into
Carburetor,
is this going into
They'd have problems.
what I call a limp home mode or a tennis shoe mode when it sees the low pressure?
I've not experienced that yet, so
Okay.
that could be. Because we hit so many stumbling blocks early on, it may be time to just take everything, unplug it, go in there, clear everything out, and start back over. So,
Reboot it.
Well, Mars
Yeah,
Mars kind of makes a point about it. Could it be volume is where the issue is, and should you just go with larger fuel hoses?
yeah, see, and we set it up with the line size that was requested, which is simple, really, just 3/8 hose. You could go larger, sure, but for the power that motor makes, I don't think it needs it. But at this point, it's going to be a call back to the manufacturer of these two components and go, what in the world? I'm missing something basic.
Yeah.
It
Interesting.
happens.
Like a half-inch
Yeah.
fuel
By the
line.
time you figure it out, you're going to smack yourself in the head and go, "Oh, I should have thought of that."
Yeah, but I've learned so much about this direct injection in the last week. It's pretty amazing. So
Yeah, but when are you going to use it again?
maybe. You never know. Everything's going electric now, evidently. So
Well-
on to my next dilemma is the electric cars and the hatred that some of us have for them. They have their place for damn sure. It's just the push and the force is being extremely aggressive, and I'm sure that we as a country do not have the infrastructure to support this.
Well, I can tell you
No,
right
no,
now,
no.
we do not.
No.
Yeah.
unless all of your charging happens out of your garage with a 220 at least. You're really rolling the dice and taking a trip on that thing, because even if that there is a charging station between here and San Antonio, is it working correctly? Can you actually plug in?
Is it even
I've
working?
heard horror stories. People depend on that charging station wherever it is, at Buc-ee's or wherever, and they go there, and it's either lined up with cars trying to get to it, or it doesn't work at all. And so there's that.
Or they get there and it's a Tesla charging station and their car doesn't plug in.
yeah,
Right?
yeah. So there's that.
Yeah, and then you get into the next part of that is, for people that travel, I mean, kind of the American dream, the American standard has been this travel that we jump in a car for family vacation and
Road
go
trip.
across 1,500 miles, 2,000 miles, see Aunt Nellie. How do you do that? I mean, just this time you're talking to stop and charge and still get somewhere. It's just we're a larger country than everyone else that's doing this electric, and not opposing it. It's great for city driving and city folks, but when you look at going out on a vacation or a trip to some of the racing that I do, you just can't make that happen.
Well, that's why there's been a lot of cars that have come into the Texas market, and they're no longer there because they don't suit the style or the range or whatever it is in Texas. They're fine in New York or Boston, but they don't
Right.
work out here where you got to go 15 hours to
150
get across
miles,
the state.
right?
Yep.
So let's talk about racing and what you've got in that venue, if you will, the SCCA stuff, and mainly down there at Motorsports Ranch.
Yeah, Motorsports Ranch. We don't have any major races coming up. We've got a NASA race that comes up into this month, and then we're off to Labor Day. We've got a big race at COTA, F1 race, F1 facility. That'll be the COTA Super Tour. That is like 30 days away, so it's early February for that one. And then we're 100 days away from the Chihuahua down in Mexico. So
Nice.
already in our big push to have that thing ramped up and ready. Looks like we're taking 3 cars this year. So we'll hit the ground running, try not to blow stuff up this year, and make it through the event.
Now, once you get done with the Jeep in the shop, have you got stuff lined up to work on?
Yeah, so we've got a 68 BMW 2002. They call them the Roundies. So the first year of 2002. Doing a little bit of a wide body flare on it. We replaced floor pans, rear trunk pan, what you would call the frame rails, but they're really unibody rails on the front side, getting it painted, and then dropping a modern BMW motor into it. He'll have about 340 at the wheels for a little 2,400-pound car. It'll be a lot of fun. I've got another 72 GMC square body, or C10 coming in. I've also got a square body from Dallas coming in that's a LS platform, doing kind of the restoring the patina paint on it. It actually has really good original patina. We're just going to go in and polish the paint up, what I consider correct patina, not created, not false, not putting acid on it, just nurturing what's already there and bringing a shine back to it.
He had me at LS.
Well, he's going to put real rust on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's already got rust on it. It's actually pretty amazing. I should have sent you guys some photos of it. As it comes along, it's one it looks good already. It's rust. It's got quite a bit of rust on it, but it's also original yellow and white C10. So it's that two-tone yellow white. So it's really a perfect candidate for it.
Well, you talk
Both
about
colors will buff out really nice.
Yeah, you talk about that 2002 BMW. A friend of mine's also doing a restoration on one. I'm amazed at how much restoration parts are available, sheet metal for that car. Considering,
well, it's the Volkswagen of Germany, right? I mean, so they're everywhere over there.
Cool little car.
Yeah. 2,400 pounds.
What do you drive? What is your personal car?
I just got a new one.
What is it?
2010 police package Tahoe.
Oh, okay.
Perfect.
Do you still have the Steelies on it?
Yes. Still has the Steely. Still has the little spotlight on it. The antennas on the roof.
Yes. Is it a black and white?
Got it the day before we left for PRI. So it was my first time experiencing having a police vehicle or past police vehicle and driving on the highway. Pretty amazing how some people literally just slam on the brake and then get over.
Where did you find something like
get
that?
over, right?
Did you find it at an auction?
Yeah, where did you find it?
No, this was a friend of mine that's had police package vehicles as long as I've known them, 25 years. And I just told them, man, I want to get one of these. And they called and said, hey, we've got this little motor issue on this one. Wife got a new one. We moved up to a 2019 police package Tahoe. Why don't you help us out and give us this much money for it? And I was like, I'm heading that way. So went over and gave him the cash and picked it up and headed out the next day to Indy.
And now you freak everybody out while you're driving down the highway and you're black and white.
Good. So, Conrad, you can appreciate this as much as we drive around. So I'm going to do the stealth package because I do vinyl as well. So we're going to do the reflective white, and do a stripe package on it, and then ghost it as far as the Apex Auto Works to build and protect.
To build
and protect.
That's nice.
I like it.
That's nice.
So
I want one.
It should be a lot of fun. Should get a lot of looks, and it's all in good fun and good spirits.
Well, Happy New Year to you, Richard. It's great to talk to you as always, and we love chatting with you. It's always educational, and we want to keep that going for 2023.
Thanks
Happy
for
New
short
Year,
notice,
my friend.
yeah.
We'll see you soon. Be good, guys.
You do the same.
Thanks.
Okay.
Short notice. That was great.
I'm glad I asked him about his personal car.
I know it.
Ghost flaming.
Cruise-
Build and protect.
You want to do a cruising calendar?
Well, we already did cruising, but I can do.
Oh no, you did
You did events.
Yeah, we
can
did
do
events. So there are no events. you've lumped it into the cruising calendar, but that's fine because I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do my review of the 2022 Dodge Challenger. Is that okay with you?
Sure. Well, if you want one, March 25th is the Spindletop Car Show at Church on the Rock over there in Niederville.
March. Okay. Are you kidding? I'm worried about next week, not March.
I'm worried about tomorrow.
Are you? I'm worried about the rest of the day.
I'm worried if I get enough Muscatel.
Do I have time for a nap today? That's the question. All right. 2022 Dodge Challenger. Available trim levels: the SXT, the GT, the RT, the RT Scat Pack, and the SRT Hellcat. Not only did I have the Hellcat, but I had the Hellcat wide body.
Nice.
No, this is not the Red Eye. No, this is not the Demon. This
I resemble
is
that remark.
just the Hellcat. How many passengers? 4 or 5. If you want to stick a third person in the back seat back there, I don't. Is there even a seatbelt back there
Passenger
for that?
delete.
I don't think
Someone
so.
in the middle? It's 4 people. Anyway, exterior changes from last model year? None. This car was originally introduced in 2008, which was 15 years ago if you're counting. And if you stop and think about it, what car is still around that's 15 years old that they sell every one that they make? It's truly amazing. And
it hasn't changed a bunch. It has changed some, but not significantly.
Minuscule.
Correct. Yeah. Exterior features. Wheel opening extensions allow for wider, bigger wheels and tires, and that's really what it's all about, trying to get the power to the road. Flat-nosed grille is direct descendant of the original back in the 60s. She-Jack air nostrils on the hood. Front splitter and rear splitter.
So does that mean the wheel openings are ear muffs?
No. Oh, well, they could be, yes. They
He did
could
say
be that.
wide body.
Yeah. You going to sneeze? Oh. Front splitter and rear spoiler. Said that. What I liked, the retro styling that never gets old in my book. What could use improvement? Nothing. I like the way it is, and I like the way it looks, and they're not going to change it, and I wouldn't recommend they change it. That's what sells the car.
You know, it definitely reminds you of that 70-71 Challenger.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Interior highlights: thick SRT steering wheel, well laid out dash that is getting a little dated, but it still works. Great infotainment system. That Chrysler system just really works for me. Comfortable, high bolstered seating. Cargo trunk room is relatively small for a mid-sized car like this. What I liked about it, the race car styling on the interior. What could use improvement? Nothing. Waiting on the electric replacement, and I can't wait. If they do such a good job at hot rodding, I can only imagine where the electric is going to go.
See the pigs flying by?
Yeah, that's some more. Yeah.
6.2 liter.
That's twice today.
Supercharged V8, 717 posted horsepower.
What?
Torque of 656 pound-feet. Transmission, 8-speed automatic transmission. It's rated for 13 miles per gallon in the city and 21 on the highway for a combined total of 15.
And you got?
17.3.
Ooh,
That's pretty good.
yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry. I know that the car will smoke the rear tires. I know that. Why would I want to do that? I don't want to do that.
No, I agree.
Because you can.
No, yeah, I know. And it's not my car. Now, Mars, on the other
was
hand,
thinking the
did you
same
just
thing.
see and hear his comment?
Yeah.
He says, exactly. So, in other words, that's what you do. Kimberly
No,
Schultz, I just wanted to
Oh,
go ahead
God.
and call him out on this. You've lit those tires up, haven't you?
In the name of research, yes. I mean, you got to figure out just to what extent. I mean,
just don't film
the
it when
guys
you do.
that do it on YouTube and stuff. Whenever you're the Stellantis and the Dodge engineers, they all know exactly how to do that. So they can do these funny car style
We all
burnouts
know.
all day.
We all know how to do it. You take the traction control off and you put it in low or shift it through the gears.
No,
and just keep burning the tires all the way down the track.
No.
Okay, well then, how do you
We're
do
going to
it?
have to give you lessons on how to do a proper burnout. Next time
Really?
we get a car, yes.
Okay, I'll watch from the curb. A long way back because all I can see is that car going down the road.
We're not talking
and
about a Mustang. We're talking about
That's exactly what was in my head. A Mustang leaving a car meet. Sorry, Randy.
ride and handling. What I liked about it, the race car-like suspension. What could use improvement? Adjustability, but then it wouldn't be a race car suspension on it, would it?
I have a comment after all this, but that's okay. I'll wait.
Okay. Now then, let us talk about pricing. Now, the base trim price on the Hellcat, the base trim price is $63,530.
It's not bad.
The price is tested was $88,000. But if you want to get into a Challenger, a six-cylinder like my daughter's got, $30,000.
Yeah, that's good.
It's like, what, 305, 308 horsepower? There's
plenty.
plenty of juice there.
Yeah.
Plenty. Yep. Competitors to this vehicle. Well, duh. The Mustang Mach-1, it starts at $57,665. The Camaro ZL1 starts at $65,895, which I think would probably be the closest competitor, but not really, as far as horsepower is concerned. And then there is the Charger 4-door, because I can't find any more 2-doors. Charger 4-door starts at $79,595, and that's the Hellcat version.
Okay, so you got 780 horsepower. You've got bolstered seats. You got wide body. You got big tires. You got all these accoutrements on the dashboard to fix performance. But, don't you dare light those tires up.
Yeah, Don, don't you dare.
I didn't light them up.
It's there to light tires up.
Here's my reason. Because if I did that, I'd either, one, get caught by the police.
Well, there's
to
always that.
get a
Yeah.
big ticket,
There's always
or
that.
I'd wreck it. I'd put it into some light pole down the street.
Or you get caught by
Because-
Dodge.
Because that's my luck. I'm not going to do that. Why would I do that?
The point
I don't
is
need
they
to do
put
that.
all of that
Did I floor
great
it a time?
stuff.
Did I floor it a time or two? Absolutely. And
Yeah,
I'll-
but the car is smart enough to understand that.
But let me tell you something. It takes it just a split second to say, spinning
Yeah,
the rear
there's that
tires,
fine line.
need to bring it back a little bit, or shift it up to the next gear, and then you shift it up the next gear, and it still wants to spin the tires. It's got more horsepower than most people could handle.
That's what I'm saying.
That's kind of like I've told people through the years that get a new Corvette is don't touch the button.
Correct.
Don't turn the brains of the car off because the car is smarter than you are as a driver.
But you can't
They ain't
fix
no
stupid.
lie.
And the car's not. That's
Hey,
my point.
Can't fix it, but you can have fun with it.
The In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show is available 24/7 through the iHeartRadio app. Just look for In-Wheel Time Car Talk. We also video stream on Facebook, YouTube, and InWheelTime.com. Podcasts at your fingertips on over a dozen of the most popular podcast outlets. The In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show continues right after these brief messages. Your friends and hosts of the quarterly Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In at the Lupi Tortilla in Katy want to thank you for participating in this year's events and look forward to another exciting year. You'll hear about the next Tailpipes and Tacos right here and online soon. Next time you're in West Houston, be sure and stop in at the original Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex near I-10 and Highway 6, or the Katy location off I-10 and the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard. Traveling east to Beaumont or northwest to College Station, you'll want to have Lupi's award-winning beef fajitas and frozen margaritas. There's always a celebration at Lupi Tortilla. Lupi founder Stan Holt and his wife Sheila are car people through and through. Both are winning racers on the NHRA drag racing circuit and have a collection of cars that everyone appreciates. You'll see one at the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In. The next event will be in the spring at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex on 99, the Grand Parkway and Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 and Katy. We'll give you all the details soon here on the In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show and online. You own a car you love. Well, why not let Gulf Coast Auto Shield protect it? Houstonian John Gray invites you to his state-of-the-art facility to introduce you to his specialist team of auto enthusiasts. We promise you'll be impressed. Whether you're looking to massage your original paint to a like-new appearance, apply a ceramic coating, install a paint protection film, nano-ceramic window tint, or new windshield protection called ExoShield, Gulf Coast Auto Shield is where Houston's car people go. Curbed your wheels? Instead of buying new, why not have them repaired? How about a professionally installed radar detector? Gulf Coast Auto Shield does that too. Get a peek inside the shop and look at the services offered by getting online and heading to gcautoshield.com. Better yet, stop by their facility at 11275 South Sam Houston Tollway, just south of the Southwest Freeway, and get a personal tour. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is your place to go for all things exterior. Call them today, 832-930-5655 or gcautoshield.com. The award-winning In Wheel Time Car Talk Show is available on the most popular podcast channels out there in 30-minute episodes. We realize our 3-hour live show can be difficult to catch in its entirety, so now you can listen every day to a convenient, fresh 30-minute episode. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Audible, along with a dozen more. In Wheel Time has the most informative automotive guest interviews and new car reviews, along with popular features including Conrad's Car Clinic and This Week in Auto History, along with automotive news headlines. Our live broadcast airs every Saturday, 8 to 11 Central on InWheelTime.com, the iHeart app, and on YouTube. Be sure to say hello when we're broadcasting from the Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise-In, Autorama, and the Houston Auto Show, among others. Now, it's easier than ever to hear about all things automotive all week long. You're invited to join fellow car enthusiasts in becoming part of the ever-growing In Wheel Time Car Talk family. Don't forget those 30-minute podcast episodes on your favorite podcast channel. It's the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Just ahead, we're going to talk about what's new in 2023 from the auto manufacturers. Conrad's going to have This Week in Auto History. We'll get you updated on the stories making car news this week. Howdy. Along with Mike Out of This World Mars, King Conrad DeLong. We need more Jeff Zekin. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad you could join us on this New Year's Eve 2022. So I guess you boys have big plans for this evening? Going to go out and party down somewhere?
Nope.
Like it's 1999.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You and Prince. You going to dress up like Prince?
Yeah, every year.
Every year. Good. Mars?
I'm just thinking, what was I doing that long ago, 21 years ago in 1999,
We were worried about 2000K.
I guess. Probably partied a little bit differently, too.
No.
Everybody thought their computer was going to lock up.
Oh, gosh.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I had to
yeah.
go into work that night.
Yep.
I had to go into work. I was working at Channel 2. I had to go into work.
Worried
All
that
of us, the
everything
entire
was gonna
news,
shut down.
the entire news staff was there,
Yeah.
thinking that the whole
Just
world
in
was going to,
case.
and everybody's sitting around going,
Nothing.
nothing happening,
Yep.
nothing. So 12:30, 1 o'clock. Okay, well, looks like the world has survived. We can all go home now.
That's crazy.
Another government panic, because the government wants you to live in panic.
Yeah,
That way they think they're useful.
yeah.
Because they're not.
That's another show.
The more the government does, the more they screw it up.
Ronnie Stein was supposed to be our in-studio guest today. He called in this morning. He wasn't feeling well. You stay home, Ron.
Yeah. No sharing this week.
Please, yes. So, thought, okay, well, what are we going to do? I happened to pull this story from Automotive News, and basically it's a recap, if you will, of what the car manufacturers have told everybody that they've got heading our way. So I thought, well, we'll share that. Why not? Another wave of EVs on tap
Oh, yeah.
as automakers leverage new and freshened sheet metal to drive showroom traffic against a rising tide of economic and market headwinds. Another wave of electric vehicles. Yep, we got that coming. Crossovers, pickups dominate the list of key showroom introductions this year.
Still.
Yep, still. Among major brands, Chevrolet, one of the big sales winners of 2022, though the third quarter and Toyota, through the third quarter, that is, and Toyota have ambitious launch schedules planned. Ford, another gainer this year, and Honda have at least 2 major launches on deck. Going to be quite a year for Nissan, Jeep, Hyundai, and Kia. Solid market gains in 2022 have other key EVs on deck. Let's go down the list. You want to start in alphabetical order?
Sure.
Acura. Acura adds a Performance S-Type, a variant to its smallest car with more than 300 horsepower. That's a lot. It goes on sale in summer 2023.
Is that the
according-
Integra?
Yes.
Yeah, that's their smallest car.
Alfa Romeo, the toenail plug-in hybrid.
The toenail.
The toenail. What? It's Tonale, isn't that toenail?
Okay.
There's an I in toenail.
Well, not Italian-wise.
Oh. Well, you got Italian toenails.
Yeah, exactly.
They have
So,
hairy armpits, too.
The toenail plug-in hybrid, the Italian
those are
brand's
French.
first electrified model, is coming in the second quarter, giving Alfa Romeo a second utility vehicle in the U.S. Audi e-tron receives a new name, the Audi Q8 e-tron. Longer range, new styling, and a freshening, while gasoline-powered version of the Q8 and its performance derivatives also forego a freshening expected to include a mild hybrid system, driver assistance, and infotainment upgrades.
e-tron, is that the classroom discussion?
I think that's some sort of a movie, isn't it?
e-tron.
Here comes the e-tron.
Tron.
Tron.
That was,
Yeah.
that was a movie. It was
Remember
also
Tron?
a video game.
Yeah.
Is that like Denice?
Denice.
e-tron?
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron.
Aaron,
Aaron.
which is now what I'm calling my son-in-law.
Yeah, that's right.
Aaron.
Aaron's
Chevrolet,
a nice guy. He's a cool cat.
And
2023
They're gonna name the baby Denice.
Balaki. It's a boy.
2023 is shaping up to be a big year for Chevy. 3 core EVs headlining showrooms when they go on sale. The all-electric Silverado pickup in the first half of the year, and the Equinox and the Blazer EV crossovers following in the second half.
Have you seen the Silverado? The pictures of the Silverado?
No.
It brings back to me visions of Avalanche, because that buttressed C-pillar is part
the
of
fairing on the back.
part of the Chevrolet Silverado EV.
They must have some extra in the parts department to do that.
Dodge. Oh, by the way, Chevy will also launch full redesigns of the Trax subcompact
Yeah, because it sold
crossover.
so well so far, right?
And the Colorado midsize pickup. Both of them like,
Yeah.
Okay, Dodge, compact utility shoppers looking for practicality. Dodge is pushing speed. The Hornet RT plug-in hybrid, Dodge's first electrified vehicle, arrives early in the year, will surpass 285 horsepower while generating 383 pound-feet of torque. It boasts a power shot feature that can supply an extra 25 horsepower burst on demand at 15-second intervals.
It's a scramble button.
Yeah, or a push-to-pass button like on an Indy car.
Nitrous.
Conventional GT trim has a Hurricane 4 engine, 2-liter turbocharged inline 4-cylinder. So there's something. Fisker.
Oh, yeah.
They're still here?
Yep.
Well, they went away. Somebody bought them and has brought
They're
them back.
trying to bring them back.
Henrik Fisker's latest creation,
Aaron.
the all-electric Ocean crossover slated for initial deliveries to European and U.S. customers in February. Ford, it was all about EV debuts such as the F-150 Lightning and the E-Transit. 2023 will be all about gasoline-powered products. Automaker will launch a redesigned 7th-generation Mustang. You've seen pictures of that, I'm sure.
Yep.
It looks pretty sharp, I guess. There's not much change. Doubles down on gasoline with an updated V8 and new Dark Horse performance variant. Ford will also introduce a redesigned Super Duty featuring 2 new engines, more technology, and more power. More. Next generation Ranger, along with a performance-focused Ranger Raptor, will debut in 2023 as well.
A Ranger Raptor.
Ranger Raptor. Ford is refreshing the Escape crossover, which comes in both gas and hybrid configurations. New exterior design, interior technology upgrades expected to reveal mid-cycle updates of the F-150 and Explorer later in the year. GMC, biggest launch at GM's second largest division, is the Hummer EV SUV. It's happening in the first quarter. It follows the Hummer EV pickup, which went on sale late last year. The Hummer SUV's Edition 1 trim will have a range of about 300 miles, 830 horsepower, and a GM estimated 11,500 pound-feet of torque.
Have you seen one
I've seen pictures
in
of
person?
it. Not in person.
I haven't
no.
seen one in person.
I'm wondering what the manufacturers are going to bring, if anything, to the Houston Auto Show like that. Are they going to bring that?
They didn't last year.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't play last year.
No, they
did
didn't play. GM didn't play last year at all.
I wonder if they'll play this year.
I don't know.
Well, I don't think so, because isn't that what Rochelle was talking about? They're still waiting for decisions.
There's still some of them trying to get product ready.
Believe me, after working for them for 25 years, decisions at General Motors don't happen quick and generally aren't right.
Tell us how you really feel,
Yeah.
Conrad.
You're in a good mood today.
I'm telling you
Well,
what.
I too hold bitterness, not at General
Not like
Motors
you.
per se, but I'm a bitter man. I'm a bitter old man at many things.
That's what Katie says.
Yeah. She knows. I'm not bitter at her.
You got three witnesses.
Exactly.
That poor girl.
Yeah, she's doomed. The venerable Accord, a stalwart of Honda's U.S. lineup for decades, undergoes a makeover to become sleeker and offer 4 hybrid trims aimed at attracting half of all Accord shoppers. You know,
And it's huge compared to the previous Accord.
let me just say this about that. You know, I owned an Accord years and years ago when it was the little box one. It was really a nice car, rode great. The problem was the major maintenance hits that it took, like at 30,000 miles or 35,000, you had to change the timing belt. It cost me a damn $1,000 to do it because it's complicated, and you don't screw that up.
No, can't.
And that's a problem. And why have you seen some of the Accords? They're ugly. It's ugly.
The most recent generation had that, for lack of a better phrase, that tomato tooth. They had that, Acura went through it too. They had this one big chrome tooth that hung down in the front, kind of like Tomater did. And,
What is wrong with those people? Do they not have any styling taste whatsoever?
Because they know
I think they
Americans will
get
buy
caught
it.
up in trying to be different, and it's more important to be different, not copy or look like somebody else. than
I'm
it
all
is
for
to be
that,
good.
but why does it have to look so
but
damn ugly?
Well, but sometimes it's
Ugly
hard.
is in.
Yeah.
Well, for them, that's been in for the past 30
But
years.
to your point, we had an Accord and those major maintenance deals. The point we bought that car was because at the time we were putting 20,000 miles a year on it, going back and forth to San Antonio, and we wanted something that we felt was dependable and
Dependable and got
Accord.
good gas mileage. Absolutely. I'm all over that. And that little square box that I bought, brand new, they did not offer the EX version, which had the leather. And the wife wanted leather. So we spent more money, sent it out, and got leathered. It was 2,
Okay.
if you're counting.
Well, I didn't know which one, 1, 2, or 3.
Does it make any difference?
Yeah, just-
they
No,
all
not
wound
really.
up
Just
in
trying
the
to keep
trash
up.
bin anyway, so.
Wow.
except for the first one, they gave you the 2 girls.
That's the second one.
That's the second one.
You can't even keep them straight. I have difficulty.
I don't try.
I have difficulty on occasion. But at any rate,
Checking your
back,
scorecard.
Back to Honda. Civic Hybrid. You know, the Civic has now grown beyond what the Accord used
Oh,
to
yeah.
be.
Yes.
It's physically larger than what the Accord was.
Why do they do that? I don't get it. And then they got to come up with a new name. It's always terrible, like Toenail. What? Who dreams up this stuff? Anyway, Hyundai, the Ioniq.
Ionic.
I don't want that. I don't want Ionic.
Aaron.
It's a Aeron. The Ioniq 6 sedan, 340 miles of range when configured with rear-wheel drive and a long-range battery, goes on sale early 2023.
340 is actually pretty decent range. How long does it take to recharge? That's got to be a big
4
They
days.
don't put that in here. We haven't gotten that deep in this. Genesis electrified GV70 crossover.
You just had a Genesis.
I
not
did,
that
and
long ago.
it was the
You
G.
liked it.
I did.
It's a nice
The
car.
problem is that again the nomenclature GV70. What's the difference between it and the Mercedes-Benz GLS 580?
$50,000.
Well, there's that. There's that. But really, you know what I'm saying? I don't get it. Could you not put a name on it like Toenail? At least you can remember what it is.
And when it gets bigger, it's a hangnail.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah, and it gets so big that it winds up getting infected, and you have to get it removed.
And then you had fungus.
And then there's fungus
Among Us.
among us. All right,
Chainsaw to cut them.
I'm never going to get through this. That's probably.
He told us
trying.
he wanted to have our input while you were talking about
You know
it.
what?
Now he's complaining about it.
We may have to carry this over into the next half hour. Kia's EV lineup will grow again when the EV9 launches late in the year, though it could spill over to 2024, kind of like this review. It'll be the first three-row EV on the market, aside from the Tesla Model X. Pricing not been released, but expected to be between $50,000 and $60,000. Who can afford a new car these days? They're all going above $50,000. The average price of a new car is about $50,000 now.
And they're not cheap to recharge.
No, they're not. Oh, I'm going to go electric, save me a lot of money. No, you're not. If you do the math, actually, I think it's more expensive, depending on your electric plan, to go electric than it is to put gas in the car. Once the gas gets below 250, you're right in there.
And the long-term picture of maintenance of the electric car is kind of still unknown. You know, what do you do when the batteries wear out? You know, I just replaced my iPhone because the batteries wear out. It's going to be a lot harder when you're replacing a $100,000 car.
Well, and there is still a motor in there. So there's still bearings and there's still things that can go wrong with that motor that you don't hear anything about. It's everybody, let's worry about the battery.
Didn't Gina just post something? Gina Shiles post something about changing a battery in an electric vehicle, and it was like $30,000.
Yeah,
it was like a 2-year-old vehicle.
That repair order has been kind of going around for a while, and it was a Chevy Bolt, I think.
Bolt, that's what it was.
And
which has been recalled.
Yeah, it cost them $28,000 to put a battery in it. So I don't know the truth behind that. I'm not surprised because when they recall them, because you got to remember the Chevy Bolt was recalled for fire, and General Motors would just send the dealership a battery. There was no charge involved in how much it cost to replace the battery. So they were replaced with, without a price, which I thought was odd.
The Lamborghini Urus. Urus. It's Urus, I guess. It's URUS. How do you pronounce it?
Aaron.
Aaron.
Urethra.
Is it like Babe Ruth?
The Urus will undergo a re-engineering to accommodate a plug-in hybrid powertrain in the first half of the year. A what?
A Urus.
Yeah, it's a Urus.
Because I think that's their SUV.
A Urus. I would never call it that. And I'll bet you in some sort of an Italian way it's not called a Urus.
It surely isn't a urethra.
It's not Shirley either.
Don't call me Shirley.
We promise next year will be better. 2023 will be better.
No, we won't.
I've got a doctor that.
Dr. Vinny.
Dr. Vinny Boombots. God. Ford Motor Company's luxury brand Lincoln expected to get a boost from freshening the Corsair, which is very close to a Corvair crossover in the first half of the year, and the Aviator crossover later in the year. Lexus RZ, a battery electric compact crossover, debuts next year. It's been delayed by the same issues Toyota had with assembling the Toyota BZ4X.
The BZ, that's, you've talked about that range of cars. Scion had one. Subaru had one. Now Toyota's got I think it was the BZ86 or something like that.
It was just the 86.
86.
Yeah.
Also on tap's the freshening of the brand's entry-level crossover, the UX. That sounds like some sort of an infection, which will get infotainment and driver assistance upgrades along with updates.
Do they have a vaccine for that?
I don't know. Probably some sort of, anyway.
Penicillin or something.
Something. Penicillin, that's what it is. Finally, the true three-row full-size luxury crossover, the TX, is expected to debut late in the year, featuring the brand's most advanced driver assistance package and replacing the RXL.
And you said that's at Lexus.
That's Lexus, yeah.
And Lexus and Toyota seem to be the last comers to EV, pure
Dude,
EV.
and have you seen all the crap that they've gotten across the world about being the last to be EVs? Oh, no, we've got all of these in store. Well, why is it that everybody else is coming to market with them? Tesla's been in business for 10 years. Come on, man. What gives?
Well, there might not be believers in it. And you got to think
Well,
Toyota has been ahead of the market for decades
On a lot of things.
on a lot of things. So maybe
Maybe they know something that the rest of the world doesn't know.
or maybe the rest of the world does know, but it's politically
won't-
incorrect to voice it.
Yeah, could be.
Don't want to hurt your feelings.
The CX-90 from Mazda, three-row crossover, will replace the CX-9 in Mazda's U.S. lineup as the brand's biggest utility vehicle. The 90 is engineered on an all-new platform and tailored to U.S. driving habits. It'll be shown in late January and go on sale in the first half of 2023.
What does that mean, U.S. driving habits?
I don't know.
Burnouts. Smoking
have
them
to-
tires.
Tailored to U.S. driving habits. I would like to know
Cross-country trips.
what that includes.
I don't know. Does it include all vehicles or does it include just three-row crossover vehicles? I don't know. They didn't.
Or does it include kind of the interior of the vehicle?
Cup holders.
Yeah. Mercedes-Benz EQE crossover goes on sale in early 2023 and fleshes out Mercedes' electric crossover lineup, now bookended by the compact EQB and the full-size EQS, which is what I had last week. Gosh, that's a nice car. The EQE is based on the same EVA2 platform.
More pigs.
Pigs are
More
flying.
pigs.
as the brand's larger full electric offerings. Whatever. It's so hard to keep up.
Are we going to get to a Cadillac on this?
No, we've already done.
No, there is nothing
there's
new at
nothing new.
Cadillac.
Nothing new at
The
Cadillac.
Lyric is new at Cadillac.
Well, yeah, but
That's it. Or is that the Lyrique? Or Lyric Hue?
Q. No, it's Shirley Q.
Shirley Q Liquor.
Shirley
Do you ever
Q.
listen? Do you ever listen to Shirley Q
Creek.
Liquor? You know, I've
Gosh,
thought. I've
that's a
thought.
different show.
Huh? Shirley Q.
different show.
It is a different show.
Don't get me started.
I've thought about actually inquiring about maybe perhaps getting Shirley Q Liquor to make an appearance on this show.
Yeah, we could.
Let me know ahead of time.
Why?
Me too.
Why?
Because I'll probably take the day off.
Really?
Yeah,
You don't like Shirley Q Liquor?
I don't want to say something stupid. And it'd be real easy for me, and I know it's real easy for her.
Yeah, we promise next year better.
Bigger and better. Let's see. I did Mercedes-Benz. Okay. I just got a couple more here. Well, actually, I got more than a
Nothing
couple.
from Porsche. Surprised Porsche's not doing some EVs or some,
no, I don't
some
have
mild
any.
hybrids.
Yeah, I don't have Porsche on here.
Because Porsche is going into IMSA with a hybrid powered vehicle.
Yeah, nothing yet. Polestar.
Which
I see those on
which
the
is-
road.
Isn't that Volvo's upper
Volvo's
end?
EV.
Yeah. I
That's their
see
EV
those. I like.
platform.
That's a pretty good.
It's
The
their-
midsize Polestar
rod.
3 is built on
Yeah.
all new electric platforms, sports dual motors, and has an estimated APA range of up to 300 miles. It'll arrive in U.S. stores late next year and start at $85,000.
Called the Dancer.
Tiny
Pole
dancer.
dancer.
Polestar
Polestar
Dancer.
I had to think about that one, Conrad. That was a
Polestar
reach.
3, no, it wasn't. Not for me.
I didn't figure that.
So you drop dollars in the glove box to recharge it, or what?
Ones got to be $1 bills.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a big rubber band strap on the dashboard, not in the glove box. Oh. At launch, the Polestar 3 will feature a rear-biased
See?
dual...
It's the Kardashian version.
No, that's wide body bias.
Sorry.
Is Becky listening to the show this week?
I hope not.
You're not going to go back on that show again. That thing is
We
nasty.
promise we're going to be better.
We're going to try. No, we're not. The crossover. And, you know, something's wrong with that word now, too, isn't it?
know,
The
yeah.
crossover. The crossover will be Polestar's first U.S.-made model.
10-speed tranny.
That's right. Ram will step into the EV space for the first time in 2023 with the ProMaster van. The first commercial customer for the electric van will be Amazon, which will put it to work as a last-mile delivery vehicle. I don't know what that means. What is a last mile delivery?
There is a
Like in the neighborhoods.
reasoning. Yeah.
Well, they've got the 18-wheelers that move
Yeah, I got that.
big product around,
It's
and
a
then
hub and spoke.
They've got the little stuff that's makes
goes
the
to your
short
house
run-
and
the
my
short
house,
run
yeah.
deliveries.
Yeah, I've even seen them during the holidays with golf
Do we
carts.
care what Rolls-Royce has in store?
Ooh, yeah.
Why? Why do you care?
He's going to get one for his granddaughter.
Was thinking about it.
The brand's first EV, built on the same aluminum architecture underpinning its other models, should arrive in late 2023. The Spectre
James Bond.
can travel 320 miles on a single charge based on European test cycles. The electric motor is rated at 576 horsepower and can propel the car to 62 miles an hour in 4.5 seconds. Rolls-Royce has optimized the aerodynamics across the car to achieve a claimed drag coefficient of 0.25, making it the sleekest model it has ever produced. Subaru redesigned Impreza will debut at November's LA Auto Show and will now be sold in hatchback form only. Leads a parade of redesigns for the Japanese brand, which will also make over the Forester and the Crosstrek. Forester and Crosstrek combined to account for nearly half of Subaru's U.S. sales in the first 11 months of 2022. I think that they got their act together.
They do.
And I think that where they've teamed up in marketing with donating to animal shelters, brilliant.
Oh yeah, and they have a rabidly loyal fan base.
Yeah. I was talking to Katie yesterday, as a matter of fact, about cars, and she said they're everywhere in Denver.
Oh well,
Subarus, yeah, and they're
everything Subaru makes is all-wheel drive.
full-time all-wheel drive. Yeah, and it just makes sense. And they've come a long way in their redesigns because they used to be kind of
Plain,
Dowdy.
plain
Dowdy,
Jane, vanilla,
yes.
vanilla.
Yeah, they've come a long way. There's a picture of the Rolls-Royce. Can you see that?
Yep, good-looking car.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tesla. As first shown as a prototype in 2019, the Cybertruck's expected to go into production in late 2023.
In Austin, Texas.
Hasn't revealed final specifications for the wildly styled electric pickup, but it's targeting sports car level acceleration and up to 500 miles of range. Okay. Well, I got a couple of more. We'll do that in the next half hour. We'll do Toyota, VinFast, and Volkswagen. Okay? All right.
The end of the alphabet.
Yeah, the end of the alphabet. I need to turn the page here if that's
Are we
okay.
going to go with Conrad's or are we going to go into a break?
This Week in Auto History, I missed it.
Yeah.
Let's do that at the top of the hour, okay?
I just need to coordinate.
Now we're gonna go to a
the
break.
video.
Yeah, we're going to go to a break. Okay. So we thank you for joining us. Quick break now. We'll be right back here on the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Stay with us. Your friends and hosts of the quarterly Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In at the Lupi Tortilla in Katy want to thank you for participating in this year's events and look forward to another exciting year. You'll hear about the next Tailpipes and Tacos right here and online soon. Next time you're in West Houston, be sure and stop in at the original Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex near I-10 and Highway 6, or the Katy location off I-10 and the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard. Traveling east to Beaumont or northwest to College Station, you'll want to have Lupi's award-winning beef fajitas and frozen margaritas. There's always a celebration at Lupi Tortilla. Lupi founder Stan Holt and his wife Sheila are car people through and through. Both are winning racers on the NHRA drag racing circuit and have a collection of cars that everyone appreciates. You'll see one at the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In. The next event will be in the spring at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex on 99, the Grand Parkway and Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 and Katy. We'll give you all the details soon here on the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show and online. You own a car you love. Well, why not let Gulf Coast Auto Shield protect it? Houstonian John Gray invites you to his state-of-the-art facility to introduce you to his specialist team of auto enthusiasts. We promise you'll be impressed. Whether you're looking to massage your original paint to a like-new appearance, apply a ceramic coating, install a paint protection film, nano-ceramic window tint, or new windshield protection called ExoShield, Gulf Coast Auto Shield is where Houston's car people go. Curbed your wheels? Instead of buying new, why not have them repaired? How about a professionally installed radar detector? Gulf Coast Auto Shield does that too. Get a peek inside the shop and look at the services offered by getting online and heading to gcautoshield.com. Better yet, stop by their facility at 11275 South Sam Houston Tollway, just south of the Southwest Freeway, and get a personal tour. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is your place to go for all things exterior. Call them today, 832-930-5655 or gcautoshield.com. The award-winning In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show is available on the most popular podcast channels out there in 30-minute episodes. We realize our 3-hour live show can be difficult to catch in its entirety, so now you can listen every day to a convenient, fresh 30-minute episode. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Audible, along with a dozen more. In-Wheel Time has the most informative automotive guest interviews and new car reviews, along with popular features including Conrad's Car Clinic and This Week in Auto History, along with automotive news headlines. Our live broadcast airs every Saturday, 8 to 11 Central on InWheelTime.com, the iHeart app, and on YouTube. Be sure to say hello when we're broadcasting from the Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In, Autorama, and the Houston Auto Show, among others. Now, it's easier than ever to hear about all things automotive all week long. You're invited to join fellow car enthusiasts in becoming part of the ever-growing In-Wheel Time Car Talk family. Don't forget those 30-minute podcast episodes on your favorite podcast channel. It's your go-to place for entertaining car talk, the In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Coming up, we're going to finish out our list of what's going on with the car industry in 2023, what you can expect in the showrooms. We're also going to
This Week in Auto History.
This Week in Auto. Thank you for finishing that for me. We'll also have Jeff. He's got a feature on the top 6 most embarrassing car designs. They're kind of some
Pontiac
of them.
Aztec. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, there's so many I had to pick for time-wise.
And later we'll have the stories making automotive news headlines, along with Conrad's Car Clinic, all straight ahead on the New Year's Eve edition of the In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Howdy, along with Mike out of this world, Mars, King Conrad DeLong. We need more Jeff Zekin. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad you could join us on this Saturday on New Year's Eve.
We should have started drinking earlier.
We should have, because we started a little too late this morning, don't you think?
I'm out of coffee.
What did you used to do on New Year's Eve? When I was a kid, we always had firecrackers.
Or those things that go, the ratchety things that go, brrr, you do those, and the horns that blow with the little.
That was my parents. I didn't
that's
do
what we did. Yeah.
I didn't do that. Yeah, they were born in
Singing
1914.
Old Lang Syne.
Yeah, we didn't
No, I
do that.
didn't do a lot of singing.
It was firecrackers and bottle rockets.
Yep. Bottle Rocket Wars.
Bottle rockets were tons of fun.
That was 4th of
It's
July.
cheap.
I didn't do that on New Year's because it was always frozen, cold tundra.
Well, down here, we don't have that. Yeah.
Well, I was a little older moving down, so
We were laughing at everybody that lives up there where you do.
yeah.
Nope.
You?
No, I didn't do any of that. I just stayed awake until midnight, and
Watched Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve. He wasn't even on.
I never
I think
went.
Benny Goodman was on, and
I never went to Times Square. I mean, living in New York and suburbs of New York City, I never went.
I've been to Times Square, but not on
I've been
New
to
Year's
Times
Eve.
Square, but not for New Year's Eve.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Just-
want
it
to be
was
there
too- it
for
was
New
just a
Year's
zoo.
Eve. Yeah, no, I don't want to do
Just
that.
a little too busy.
Yeah. You, Mars? What is it over there in Neaterville?
We did the fireworks, same kind of thing.
Watch the plants blow up.
Yeah. You'd blow up all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of like Kevin
Refineries.
Kevin McAllister and the Wet Bandits. Put those in Mom's boiling pot, the dry boiling pot, and put them there next to the doggy door. Pow, 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 pow. That was good stuff, man.
That's a good movie.
It was a good movie. Every time I see it, I get something else out of it, see something different. I've seen it 24 times.
Oh yeah.
Well, we were going to finish up, if you don't mind.
The alphabet.
We're going to fix up the alphabet soup of cars that are coming out this year. And we were discussing in our last segment about Toyota and all the crap that they have taken here of late.
For being last to market with EVs.
Yeah, well, big year for Toyota's U.S. lineup with the addition of a larger, more luxurious 3-row crossover, the Grand Highlander. It'll debut on the eve of the Chicago Auto Show with an advanced suite of driver assistance and safety systems, as well as much larger 3rd row than the current Highlander. Toyota will also give its segment-leading Tacoma compact pickup a long overdue redesign in 2023, adding a hybridized powertrain along with an infotainment overhaul, updated styling, and improved safety systems. Do people really, I mean, are safety systems, to me, just me now, I just feel that whatever car that I buy, that it's got safety built into it.
Adequate,
I don't. It's not a deal breaker for me if it doesn't have,
The latest and greatest.
Seatbelts,
yeah, seat belts. No, I need those.
windows.
Yeah, but seriously, automatic braking and all of the other stuff. I like to drive. I like cars, and I like to interact with them. I like pushing the brake pedal. I like paying attention and not running into the back of somebody because I'm on my cell phone. That
Which
happens.
you're not supposed to be.
Yeah, but people are all the time. And they
So
run
is Mitsubishi going to have a Pajero,
I didn't have any.
EV?
I don't know.
an electronic one?
So let me tell you what finish up the Japanese Toyota brand. They're debuting the 5th generation Prius. I think they just did that at the
Yes.
LA Auto Show. But that's coming to market in the first half of the year.
And it's actually a decent looking car because the Prius has, to me, always been an oddly
Oddball,
shaped
yeah.
car.
Well, that's what I thought, but I keep reading about these people think that it's over the top and it's ugly, and I'm thinking it looks a whole lot better than what it did.
Like the first gen General Motors electric or a Citroen. Sort of reminds me of a Citroen.
Yeah. I don't know why that they felt that they had to make the car look like some oddball to be electric.
Space
they didn't
age?
have to do that, but it wasn't. They were ugly.
It's an
Anyway.
attempt.
VinFast. You ever heard of them?
Nope.
VinFast, the Singapore-based automaker, says its second EV launch, I didn't even know they had the first one, will be the VF9 crossover in early 2023. The midsize 3-row VF9 will follow the 2-row VF8, which VinFast expected to deliver to its first U.S. customers by the end of 2022. I don't know who that poor person is, but boy, count me out on
where
that.
are they built?
Yeah.
Singapore.
Singapore.
Oh, I thought it was like the little sausages.
I thought maybe it was talking about Thailand, and I was kind of going.
That's Vienna.
Never mind.
I know you used to visit Thailand a lot, didn't you?
I tried.
I'm sure that you did. No, this is a rated. Well, we try to rate it G. I think it's more PG. Sometimes an R-rated show, but whatever.
Depends on how much input you have.
That's true. The VF9 will start at $76,000, including the battery.
Wow.
So that's,
Batteries
Is it without the
included.
battery?
So that's an
Batteries
option?
included.
Apparently so.
oh gosh.
Yes,
It
I'd like
all-
to,
it
get a
also
VinFast
can be
battery.
purchased without the battery by leasing the pack for a monthly fee.
Leasing the battery
Wait a minute.
pack?
I guess.
Oh, well, then you don't have to worry about replacing it because it's a lease item.
But you still have to charge it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but still, I mean, if it goes bad, if
How
you're worried
many
about it going
charging
bad-
stations do you have over there in Neaterville?
How many do we have?
Yeah.
2.
You don't even know, do you?
I do know.
They just put in 12 Tesla direct fast charges out in front of what's the restaurant there at Walden Road?
Benny's Feed
Oh,
Store.
that's in Beaumont. Well, I don't get to Beaumont too much. You're talking about Papados or
Papados,
something?
yeah. Right out in
But
front of Papados.
Tesla was
Tesla DC
not
fast
not-
charge.
not-
As far as one that you can just basically take anything else to, it's in Biter at the Walmart. It's 20, 25 minutes from me to there to charge it. It's a really nice Walmart.
you don't even
No
know.
comment.
You don't even want to know
No
the
comment.
last time that I was in Viter and what I saw there. It was not something that I would want my children to see.
No, I've been to Viter. It's just another small little town. I know it has a weird history, but I don't think that history is
That's right on the border of
It's
Louisiana.
not quite
isn't it?
like that anymore, but that
No.
Walmart is really
North
one of the
of
nicer Walmarts
State line,
I've
right on
ever
the state
seen.
line.
Got
No.
wooden floors and
Kind
everything.
of.
No, it's north of the Beaumont.
It's the white the nicer Walmart Mars has ever seen is in Viter.
Well,
He spends a lot of time in Walmarts.
and in Viter. apparently.
Only when I have to charge a car.
Do you go
You
there
go
to
over there
charge
to
the
charge?
car?
If I need to charge it before they come and pick it up, I do, yes.
How far is Viter from Neaterville?
Like I said, it's 20, 25 minutes.
Just across the bridge.
Yeah.
Well, how many in miles?
The
though?
Rainbow Bridge. What's the name of
it's
that bridge?
15 miles if you kind of go straight. Oh, yeah, you go across that way or you go around through Beaumont.
You
Either
gotta
way.
go that way.
That
You gotta
way.
go that way.
Volkswagen and the Atlas and Atlas Cross Sport crossovers will be freshened with an improved upscale interior and the company's latest driver assistance and safety package. There we go, the safety packages. You know, do you really care when you're buying a used car? Oh, I'm going to go for the safety package on the, the 1985 Monte Carlo. I don't think so.
They didn't have a safety package.
No.
Well, not only that,
You get the
most
point.
people,
Painted
when you go
dash.
look at cars, I want this kind of car, or I've kind of predetermined what I want. I've seen a couple of times where I need a new car, but I don't know what I want. And one time my wife kind of did some looking at the safety stuff, but that really didn't have any bearing on it because she didn't want that kind of car.
It's not a decision maker. Not
No,
a,
it's
not
not.
a reason to make
Or a deal
decision.
breaker, yeah.
Yeah,
deal
it
breaker.
probably should be, but it's got so much standard stuff on it now, like her 2015 that she's got now. The only thing that really made a distinction on it is I wanted the big screen. And it was either the 4-inch screen or I think it's like an 8-inch screen. So you had to move up the trim level to get the bigger screen. Well, it meant you had to take the panoramic sunroof, you got the V6 and all this other stuff, or else you don't get that big screen.
Why would you buy a sunroof, moonroof, anything with glass above your head when 9 out of the 12 months a year it is scorching hot outside?
There are some vehicles out there that you cannot buy
Without
unless you
it.
get that.
Guess what? I wouldn't buy it.
Well, remember the Nissan Maxima at
That's
one
why
point,
you have 3 ex-wives, and I only have 1.
Nanner, he wins.
and you get all the hassle about the XYs, and we really don't bust Mars about it.
Okay.
But we will in the future.
I got it. It's okay.
That's why he only has
Just
2
go
children.
ahead. Just go ahead and kick your friend when he's down. It's
State
all
won't
right.
let him
I
have
got it.
anymore. Yeah.
Nobody said anything last weekend, did they? On Christmas? Nobody kicked you?
No,
We weren't
because
here.
we weren't here.
Well, there you go.
We gave you a week off.
God.
You got to take the good with the good.
Yeah, that's right. And there is no good here. All right, let's do the This Week in Auto History.
Sure.
Are you ready? Because I like This Week in Auto History.
Yes.
Well, thank you. In 1898,
I was just born.
the first automobile land speed record was set by Count Gaston de Champlot-Lebeau of France. He
it.
set the
I
first.
think it's called Gaston.
Gaston. Gaston wasn't
Gaston.
he the guy
Gaston.
in
Les Bleus.
Yeah,
Gaston Les Bleus.
Le Bleu of France set the first official automobile land speed record when he completed the flying kilometer in a fully electric Jantade in 57 seconds for an average speed of 63 kilometers per hour. It is French, so it's in kilometers.
Escargot.
Which was-
Voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir?
So that was 39 miles an hour.
I didn't say that. I'm just repeating the words of
in
the...
that. Can you imagine going 39 miles an hour in
No,
that?
I can't. Well, yeah, I can. That looks like something that that would fit right in with today's donks, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Drop an LS in that baby.
The current land speed record is 763 miles an hour, set by Andy Green in 1997.
I was waiting for you to say Andy Gibb.
And Andy Green hopes to reset that record in excess of 1,000 miles an hour in the Bloodhouse land speed record car. And
1,000 miles an hour.
you got to think that right now at 763, that's over 100 miles an hour faster than the speed of sound. Because the speed of sound at zero altitude and 70 degrees is 660 some odd miles an hour. Your
Yeah,
daughter
then
would
you
know
get
all of these things.
That's Mach 1.
I'm just pulling it out of my head.
or other
It's
places.
not your head.
Yeah. A little south of there.
In 1909, Christmas Day, Zora Arcus Duntov,
I met him.
a Belgian, was born, an automotive engineer in Brussels. His work on the Chevrolet Corvette earned him the nickname the father of the Corvette.
Correct.
Love their
Where
sprouts.
did you meet him?
at the Oklahoma Corvette Expo. They
Cool.
brought him in there, and I've got a picture of him somewhere in this garage of all of us in the Corvette Club, and he's in the middle of it, and we had a nice chat. Very nice guy.
Yeah, their sprouts are awesome.
He's
Brussels sprouts.
It took me a second to.
I still didn't get there, but
Yeah, well,
We said he was born
You got to
in
go back about
Brussels.
three
when you have-
comments.
when you have to explain the joke sometimes. In 1919, Edsel Ford succeeded his father Henry as president of the Ford Motor Company. That same day, the company announced that it would increase its minimum wage to $6 per day. Henry Ford made history in 1914 by increasing the minimum wage in factories to $5 per day, far more than all of his competitors were paying. In 1954, the fastest stock car in the United States was the Hudson Hornet, the pride of the Hudson Motor Company. The drivers in Hudson Hornets took virtually every major NASCAR event, and that win paid off in sales on race on Sunday, win on Sunday, sell on Monday. That was Hudson's theme.
Lori Brown, who lived around the corner from me in Wisconsin, her mother had a Hudson Hornet, and it was green. It looked like a bomb. And I was always embarrassed to ride in the back seat in that thing. Oh, my God, it was a Hudson Hornet. Oh, no, there was none of that. I was 5. And no.
Well, they dominated NASCAR.
Well, I'm glad they did because I ran the other way when I saw that thing coming.
So much so that they got the attention of Ford, Chrysler, and General Motors.
767 miles an hour is the speed of sound.
Okay.
According to this.
767?
767.
Okay.
Okay, well, 763 is just short then. But that got Hudson's performance in NASCAR got GM, Ford, and Chrysler's attention, and they started supporting motorsports, and especially in NASCAR, which kind of went away in, 63, when they all pulled out of racing, and then they kind of got back into it in the early 70s, late 60s again. So, and then in 1989, General Motors CEO Roger Smith led to the closing of several GM plants in Flint, Michigan, which basically closed everything in Flint, Michigan. And Smith intended to take advantage of cheap labor in Mexico. Michael Moore documented the shuttering of all of these plants starting in 1986 with his film Roger and Me, which debuted this week in 1989. It chronicled the impact of General Motors leaving the Flint community, which left 30,000 people suddenly unemployed. Ultimately, Moore wished to bring Smith to Flint to show him how his actions affected the people GM had previously
Is that where the
employed.
word skin flint came in?
No.
That's a person that spends as little money as possible, a miser.
Yep, I'm not real sure where skin flint originated.
You go, Google.
But that wasn't it. That is This Week in Auto History.
Wow. All right. Why didn't I ever see Roger and Me?
I still haven't seen it. And it's not one that you see show up on TV to rewatch, because when it debuted, it was a bomb. Mm-hmm. And to this day, I still don't think that he gets many royalties out of it, because I still don't.
Have you seen him,
Show it.
Roger Penske, lately? Have you seen Roger Penske?
Roger Moore?
No, Roger Penske. Have you seen Roger Penske?
Aged quite heavily.
Scary. Mm-hmm. I mean, just in the past couple of years, he is an old man now.
That's what buying Indy will do to you.
Wow. I had no clue.
Well, you got to think. Look up his age. He's probably in his mid 80s.
Early 80s, I think. Early
is
80s?
It? I'll look.
Conrad might be
the
right. It's probably about
captain.
86.
The captain.
Yep.
And
I met him, and he was a very nice guy.
He's got quite a range
He's 85.
of car dealerships as well.
Yes.
Some of
say-
them here in town.
They say
He's
his
a
memory.
bajillionaire.
Yeah, his memory is like crackerjack. That he remembers people from many, many years ago, their first names and backgrounds and things.
Casey Kasem.
Yeah.
And the man died of Alzheimer's. It's amazing.
Yep.
Was that one of his claims to fame?
Well,
was how he could remember people?
I met him back in the early 70s, and
Did he remember you?
in 89, 90, I went to a convention, a broadcasting convention in Los Angeles. And I was invited to go to the ABC tent, which was a great big huge
As
tent.
a Hall of Famer?
No, none of that stuff. They didn't know me from Adam.
They
but
needed somebody to sweep up.
he was there, and along with his now not so attractive wife, because what she did. But at any rate, they were there. So I'll say hello. There were a couple of people ahead of me. And I walked up to him, and a little short guy, and I said, Casey, you don't remember me, but, and before I could get any other words out of my mouth, he says, wait a minute. Don Armstrong, Houston, Texas, 1975 or whatever. It was.
Seriously.
I was like,
You made that much of an impression on him.
No,
No,
he
his
has
memory was that
he
good.
that kind of memory. Amazing. I
I've
almost
heard of people that, you know, like,
Well, Penske's got that.
Total recall.
yes.
yeah. And then for the man to die of Alzheimer's disease, it's like, really? Truly, I didn't get it, but I was flabbergasted. We chatted for a little while. It was very nice, and he was a very nice, welcoming man. And he didn't have to be, because at that time he was a superstar. I mean, Scooby-Doo and all the cartoon characters that he did and all the announcing that he did, along with his radio show, American Top 40. Yeah. He was a huge...
I didn't realize he did cartoon voices.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
I'll have to look that up and see who all he did.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, wasn't he? What? Not Scooby. He. What's the kid?
It wasn't Scooby. It was,
the kid. The guy.
I don't...
Scruffy? No.
No.
I'll look it up while you are doing the
Okay.
top 6 most embarrassing
I'm
car
gonna need you to
designs.
hit that button when we do it. In fact, we'll do it right now.
Go for
Okay,
it.
go for it. You could actually do it. you know.
Well, I want him to do it. He needs something to do. So, as you grew up in the 1970s, you're undoubtedly familiar with the decade's events, such as disco was in full swing, funk was on the rise, hip hop was getting started. Cars, it appears, were generating headlines for how bad they were. This first one is the Aston Martin Lagonda. It was created to be the most technologically advanced automobile on the market. It included computer-controlled electronics, CRT-based displays, and a slew of other novelties. Regrettably, none of them work properly, which makes the investment not very smart.
Yeah, because that was a high-dollar car.
Yep.
I bet.
The next one is the Citroen Plira. And that's Pluriel. Plira. Pluriel.
They have a vaccine for that?
They do. Exactly. Looking back in time, the French have a lot to be proud of. They
No,
led
they
the
don't.
ways in the arts, literature, and all things fashionable. Their car designs, for the most part, have been pretty solid in
But
creative
ugly.
field. That is until the Citroen Pluriel rolled off the assembly line. According
Whoa.
to Top,
It kind of rolls off your lips.
off your tongue. According to Top Gear magazine, this vehicle is about as handy as a teapot made of chocolate. Doesn't seem they're really useful, so what's the problem? According to the users, it reported experienced dependability concerns, as well as the history of an evidently flawed vehicle were passed off as exciting new features, and of course, they surrender a lot. The next one is the Pontiac Trans Am. It's a Trans Am Type K, is what it is. It's a vintage
That's
automobile.
not a Pontiac
No,
Trans
he's had to
Am.
back up. He hit one too fast. And he's still going. He's still
forward.
going. You
Oh
gotta-
my
you
God,
gotta
You're like,
Conrad! You
dude,
know why
there
do you
you
get
go.
him?
There it is. That's
Why do
it.
you get him to
No,
do
here's
this?
the Trans Am type guy.
Distinctive feature
God.
nearly became a reality in 1977. If you can't tell, it seems like a pair of crazy wings. The production of this car, hotly contested between magazines and newspapers, it was a clever public advertising marketing thing for the campaigns. In truth, they were promotional pieces and never saw the light of day. The next one is the Reliant
Looks like a hot dog.
Robin.
No,
No,
Conrad.
You got to hit the space bar. Go back. We'll go back to that one, space bar.
We're going to have
my
training. You're going to have a training
God.
session.
Why
here.
do you let
There
him
you
do
go.
this?
The Reliant.
Space bar.
It's a three-wheeler.
Yep, Reliant. With a name like this, you'd think that it'd be a pinnacle of dependability. While that's a reasonable assumption to make, it's incorrect. The Reliant Robin was not in the least reliable. This vehicle was notorious for toppling over, but much of it chagrin of his fans. It's a three-wheel design It drew some attention, but after the negative reviews,
the way it went.
it was not very good, and it was a complete embarrassment of a car. Spacebar. The next one is the Michelin PLR. The monster of an automobile is now found
It
in
looks like
France.
the Wienermobile.
Oh, I like this car. I want one. If it was electric, it'd be great. Except for the fact that it's very slow, 111 miles per hour maximum. There's nothing really wrong with the car when it made its
Except
debut.
it's ugly.
It's hideous.
It's French.
Unpleasant look. It's not really appealing to look at.
6 wheels in the back.
10 wheels in overall.
Yeah, and 4 wheels up front.
Some say rather ugly. Would be at least operable on Earth. Would you drive it? I would. Okay, the next one, the last one, Conrad.
But you're a wagon fan.
I am. I love it. The Stout Scarab.
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember that.
Yep. The Stout Scarab is widely regarded as the most, it's the first minivan, really. Many consider it to be the world's first ugly vehicle in the automobile industry. Kind of like a loaf of bread and a football, did some things, which is owing part of the creativity decision.
What did they do,
The
Jeff?
rear-mounted V8 engine. What's this car name's? The car's. I got to start over. What this car's name signifies is the lack of charm. The scarab element of this car's name is also the name of an Egyptian dung beetle.
Dung beetle.
How
Well, there you
appropriate.
go.
Fortunately, just none of these monstrosities were ever
Write that down, Mars. The
created.
dung beetle.
Yep, and that's it.
We'll have that guest on next week.
Dung beetle. Is that like Paul, John, Ringo, or we're good?
The dung beetle. Mm-hmm. Who's playing the xylophone?
Dung beetle.
Dung beetle.
Dung beetle.
Isn't that what Asian calls
What
his
the-
little hot rod beetle in Street Outlaws?
I
the
think
dung
so.
beetle.
Yeah, the dung
By the
beetle.
way, Casey Kasem's, he did the voice of Norville Shaggy Rogers.
Shaggy.
Shaggy.
Yes, yeah.
And he also was Dick Grayson and Robin in Super Friends. He also did a bunch of voiceovers, performed many voices for children's television, such as Sesame Street and the Transformers, and the voice of NBC, and helped with the annual Jerry Lewis Telethon.
Yep.
So there you have it. That's Casey Kasem. Sorry to keep you.
And the Jerry Lewis telethon. I know Jerry Lewis isn't going to be heading it anymore.
He's dead.
Well, that's probably why. But I remember as a kid sitting and watching that as a family.
Yeah.
Watching
Yeah.
the Jerry Lewis telethon.
Well, they always had great entertainment on there and begging for money, and people all over the United States would get out and collect money. For,
And if you made a donation, your name would come across the screen.
all that.
That's what you all look for.
Hey, everybody, the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show is available 24/7 through the iHeartRadio app. Just look for In Wheel Time Car Talk. We also video stream on Facebook, YouTube, and InWheelTime.com. Podcasts are at your fingertips on over a dozen of the most popular podcast outlets. The In Wheel Time Car Talk Show continues right after this quick break. Your friends and hosts of the Quarterly Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In at the Lupi Tortilla in Katy want to thank you for participating in this year's events and look forward to another exciting year. You'll hear about the next Tailpipes and Tacos right here and online soon. Next time you're in West Houston, be sure and stop in at the original Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex near I-10 and Highway 6, or the Katy location off I-10 and the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard. Traveling east to Beaumont or northwest to College Station, you'll want to have Lupi's award-winning beef fajitas and frozen margaritas. There's always a celebration at Lupi Tortilla. Lupi founder Stan Holt and his wife Sheila are car people through and through. Both are winning racers on the NHRA drag racing circuit and have a collection of cars that everyone appreciates. You'll see one at the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In. The next event will be in the spring at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex on 99, the Grand Parkway and Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 and Katy. We'll give you all the details soon here on the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show and online. You own a car you love. Well, why not let Gulf Coast Auto Shield protect it? Houstonian John Gray invites you to his state-of-the-art facility to introduce you to his specialist team of auto enthusiasts. We promise you'll be impressed. Whether you're looking to massage your original paint to a like-new appearance, apply a ceramic coating, install a paint protection film, nano-ceramic window tint, or new windshield protection called ExoShield, Gulf Coast Auto Shield is where Houston's car people go. Curbed your wheels? Instead of buying new, why not have them repaired? How about a professionally installed radar detector? Gulf Coast Auto Shield does that too. Get a peek inside the shop and look at the services offered by getting online and heading to gcautoshield.com. Better yet, stop by their facility at 11275 South Sam Houston Tollway, just south of the Southwest Freeway, and get a personal tour. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is your place to go for all things exterior. Call them today, 832-930-5655 or gcautoshield.com. The award-winning In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show is available on the most popular podcast channels out there in 30-minute episodes. We realize our 3-hour live show can be difficult to catch in its entirety, so now you can listen every day to a convenient, fresh 30-minute episode. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Audible, along with a dozen more. In-Wheel Time has the most informative automotive guest interviews and new car reviews, along with popular features including Conrad's Car Clinic and This Week in Auto History, along with automotive news headlines. Our live broadcast airs every Saturday, 8 to 11 Central on InWheelTime.com, the iHeart app, and on YouTube. Be sure to say hello when we're broadcasting from the Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise Inn, Autorama, and the Houston Auto Show, among others. Now, it's easier than ever to hear about all things automotive all week long. You're invited to join fellow car enthusiasts in becoming part of the ever-growing In-Wheel Time Car Talk family. Don't forget those 30-minute podcast episodes on your favorite podcast channel. Welcome to the In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Just ahead, we're going to do some news headlines and talk about some of these news headlines, including the 140,000 vehicle recall from Chevrolet over the Bolt. It's good. You're going to like it. We've got also the In-Wheel Time Car Clinic. What are you going to do in the car clinic?
Well, I had two things set up. One is the most recalled cars in 2022.
Well, that would fall right into this story.
Okay, and then the other was car sales by brand.
Dovetailed.
Who's up and who's down.
Blended, married into
All
it.
right, so we're going to do that. Howdy, along with Mike out of this world, Mars, King Conrad DeLong. We need more Jeff Zeke, and I'm Don Armstrong. Hey, thanks for joining us on this New Year's Eve. It's New Year's Eve.
Yep.
You know,
the
we're
last
all,
show of 2022.
this is the last show of
Hurrah.
2020. Hurrah, hurrah.
Hoorah.
Hoorah. So we're going to talk about these things that I teased. I was thinking my mind was going 1,000 miles an hour there.
You're such a tease.
I am.
Are you leaving early?
Who, me?
Well, he's already left.
He's
Are you
looking at the
kidding?
door. I was looking at the door.
No. I was checking their sound.
Oh.
Doing our.
Doing our sound check?
Yep.
We're still on the air?
Check. Yep.
Doing the
amazing.
sound check at 2.5 hours into the show.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't have any sound. Now what? What was that TV show? Max Headroom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Max Headroom. Yes, I remember that. Gosh, that was back 80s.
Yeah, it's
80s.
late 80s, early 90s.
General Motors said Tuesday it's recalling 140,000 Chevrolet Bolt EVs in North America because, drum roll please,
A thermal event.
because the carpet could catch fire after a crash where a front seat belt pretensioner deploys.
Just do carpet delete. They won't catch fire.
Well, then it would be the rubber mats that would catch fire and melt and burn your feet.
For people who don't know what a seatbelt pretensioner is, it is when you lock your seatbelt into the connector on the floor, a pretensioner has a little blast charge in it like an airbag does. So as the vehicle impacts, it fires and pulls the seatbelt tight on you.
It deploys it and pulls it. Yeah.
So pulls it tight by probably about 1.5 inches, 2, maybe even 3 inches.
You know-
so there is a little bit of an exhaust from the explosion. And I guess that's catching the carpet on fire.
And I used to, in the back of my vehicle, lock the seat belts, the rear and the second row.
Kathy like that?
And my son said, "Don't do that, Dad, because of that pretensioner. Because if you do get it, they'll all go off. So, and that's quite expensive. So
We don't have that in a helicopter.
No.
No.
Yep. Seat belts.
We got seat belts and shoulder harnesses.
Not real sure what they're there for because
If it goes down, it ain't good. U.S. automaker said the recall covers various 2017 through 2023 model year Chevrolet Bolt EV vehicles due to rare instances of front seatbelt pretensioner exhaust gases coming in contact with floor carpeting fibers after a vehicle crash which could cause a fire. Okay.
After the crash.
Yeah.
McLaren. You have a McLaren, don't you, there, Mars?
Well, I had to get rid of it.
Did
It's
you?
just becoming a little. I mean, everybody paid attention to me when I went down the drag, and it just
Down
it was
the
just too
drag.
much.
Yeah.
You don't take
Dragon,
a
Dragon Main in Neederville.
Take a McLaren.
Did they
down
have a
the
main
drag
street in
strip.
Neederville?
Neederville Avenue.
Nederland Avenue is the main street, but it's not called Main Street.
But it's called Nederland Avenue.
Yes. Actually, it's now called Bum Phillips Way. But they can't keep the signs because
Wait a
everybody
minute.
keeps stealing them.
BFW.
Do you mean to tell me that Bum Phillips was from Neederville?
What? He was the one that led the high school to their only state championship. His son.
Yeah.
And he coached in Port Neches, and that's where Wade graduated
Well,
from.
stupid me.
And his in-laws still
Google it.
live there.
And it had to be called Bum Phillips Way because if it was Bum Phillips Drive, it'd be BFD.
And everybody keeps stealing the signs. So Wade was actually down there. We had the 99th, I think it's 99th, meeting between Nederland and Port Neches. And since Wade grew up there and his dad coached both of them, we have the Bum Phillips Trophy that passes between the two schools. And Wade was there again this year to present that. Bum Phillips was actually there the first year that we had it.
What was his real name besides Bum? Couldn't it?
Mr. Phillips.
Mr. Phillips.
Coach Phillips.
Coach.
And that's our sports segment for today.
Bum. Bum Phillips. Huh.
Can't remember
Did
what
you
it
ever
was.
think about that? Bum.
Short for
I
bummer.
read it once, but it just everybody, that's just what he was referred to.
Short for bummer.
Well, back to the McLaren story. They're recalling 164 vehicles
Probably
of the
every
new,
one they ever made. Of
Yeah.
that.
of its new Artura plug-in hybrid supercars in the U.S. for faulty nuts.
They catch fire?
These nuts.
These nuts
nuts.
on high-pressure fuel pumps can lead to a fuel leak.
In a thermal event.
Thermal event, yeah.
According to a safety recall report posted on the NHTSA website, if the nut comes loose, the seal
Which
between
nuts? These nuts?
these nuts, the seal between the end flare of the fuel pipe and the sealing cone of the pump outlet may be disrupted, resulting in a fuel leak. The end flare is located near engine components, the report said. A fuel leak in the presence of heat, such as a hot engine component, can increase the risk of fire, NHTSA said. But I just thought it was a funny story in the fact that McLaren is recalling the car because of bad nuts.
These nuts.
These nuts. I have a, huh?
And it's on the fuel line that goes to the fuel pump on the engine. I mean,
Of their electric vehicle.
yeah.
There are other recalls to tell you about. I have this. Here's a story about dangling, but we'll get to that. Improperly secured side impact sensors have forced the recall of the 2021 through 2022 Ford Bronco. The passenger airbag may deploy with the child in the seat in the Chevy Equinox for 2023 and the GMC Terrain. The Mercedes-Benz S500. Now, you would think that car would be right at the top of the list, don't you think? Of really a quality car.
Doesn't matter.
It has an insufficiently attached dashboard.
What?
So here you go driving down the street, and all of a sudden the dashboard falls in your lap. How'd that be?
Expensive to fix.
Yeah, and probably painful because those things weigh a lot. Mercedes-Benz also has other issues with the AMG GLE 53 and 63 for 2022 and the GLE 350 and 450 for 21 and 22. Loss of steering control.
You have to love our fans. Bum Phillips' name is, I don't know how to pronounce it, Oail.
Oil.
Oil Andrew Phillips. That was his name. Thanks, Heitzman.
Oil.
Jeffrey, good. Thank you.
There's more. Rear axle differential housing may crack and break on the Mercedes-Benz AMG G63.
Oh, that's not a good day.
It's not, and that is an extremely expensive vehicle.
How is the rear axle housing going to break or crack?
When you're banging on it,
Yeah.
running it hard.
Center console may open in a crash in the Mercedes-Benz AMG GT 63 and 53.
Who cares?
That's one of my concerns is the console is going to open up.
Now, here's something that I thought was rather odd. The Hyundai Kona Electric for 2021 is being recalled because of a coolant leak in the EPCU that may cause a loss of drive power.
Electronic power control unit. So most all EVs have a cooling system on them because they have to cool not only the batteries but have to cool the motor.
So does it have actual coolant?
Yep. But it's a very specific coolant because they need to have what's called a non-conductive coolant. So they want a coolant that is not going to transfer electricity. Because in an electric motor, as it turns on and off, you have that collapse of the current field, which creates the electromagnetic pulse, the EMP. So you don't want a coolant that's going to absorb that EMP and push it somewhere else in the car.
Interesting.
Like your AM radio.
Like your AM radio. Very good, Mars. Nice tie back.
You
actually do
thought
listen.
I was listening, yeah.
You do listen.
Wow.
Or your seatbelt tensioner.
So who is the most recalled vehicle in 2022?
Oh.
Who is the most recalled manufacturer in 2022?
I can't
Mercedes-Benz.
say- I know this.
Nope.
I know this. I can't say because I do know this.
Ford.
Yep.
I thought Ford was number 3.
No, Ford was number 1. And who was number 2?
Mercedes.
Volkswagen. Daimler Trucks, which is odd because Daimler Trucks was number 3. Chrysler FCA was number 4. I don't know who Forest River is. They were number 5. Mercedes-Benz was number 6. General Motors was number 7. Kia number 8. Hyundai number 9. Navistar number 10. Tesla number 11. And then BMW of North America is number 12.
It's interesting. 2 of those are big rigs. That Forest River may be one, too.
Yeah, I don't know who Forest River is, so I'm assuming
It's
it's
the guy that cleans my gutters.
Class 8. That's Forrest Gump.
Damaged tire bead on the Acura TLX for 2022. So
I
it must have
did
been
hear that, yeah.
It must have been some sort of machine that loaded the tire on the wheel.
It could be the bead itself because there's a wire or rod in that bead.
Oh.
It could be bent or damaged somehow on
When they made
production.
the tire.
Production.
On production.
Interesting.
Out of round, that'll do it.
I don't know how that happens. How do you have a mold that you know is round?
Defective mold.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, they do kind of
Molds
wear out.
Yeah, they do.
Well, as a matter of fact, when we took that tour of the Corolla plant over in Mississippi, they had all of those big, heavy stamps that they stamp the steel with. They said that they do wear out after all of that stamping that they're doing back there.
Well, while they're stamping, you can feel the ground shake.
Absolutely. We stood there and felt the ground shake.
yeah.
The whole plant shook when it hit. And it was amazing to see how all that worked.
How much force they
Well,
use to
yeah.
shape that stuff.
And a good example of that is the Suburban. You know, they didn't change that body styles, you know, the door panels and things like that for 12 years, 14 years. So, I mean, you still got those same presses over there trying to work it so that by the time they actually did make a change in it, because my father-in-law had one, you know, they just didn't fit as good because the molds had messed up or worn and the parts didn't fit as good.
Well, the way that Toyota did it was they were stamping sedans at the time, so obviously 2 doors on one side of the car. And they stamped the entire side, all the surround of the doors, where they didn't tie in the fenders yet. They didn't weld those in yet. So it was just the surround around it along with the rocker panel. And that came in there as a straight piece of steel with no holes or nothing in it.
Kaboom!
And
all
this
of a
thing
sudden it
came
comes
down,
out.
yep. And then it kaboomed and made the outline of all of it. Then it moved into the next one, right next to it, and it cut the windows out.
Another kaboom.
Another kaboom. And then they also cut the actual doors out. And that door surround with the doors went together because there are small, minuscule
Imperfections, yeah.
differences every time that thing comes down and makes that bam when it stamps it out. And so they wanted to keep the doors with the surround because that's the way it fit.
They would match.
So you wouldn't
even with the
have a
differences.
door that had a bigger gap on one than the other
Yeah.
one. And that was pretty
And that's 'cause
amazing.
they cared.
And think about this: keeping those pieces together, unpainted. They would hang them on a rack,
To the paint shop.
and off to the paint shop they would go. But it was specific to one car. Once they welded it in and started making the car, that had to stay obviously with the car.
The difference in
doors.
desired quality, because when I worked with General Motors,
They didn't care.
well, they had literally, and I'm not joking about this, they had a guy on the final assembly line with a big nylon block and a heavy hammer. And if the gap was wrong, he would lay the nylon block and whack it 2 or 3 times with a heavy hammer to fix the gap. And they had measurements for what the gap was supposed to be, but
Or the tolerances of
but
go
would
and
they,
no go.
would they go in and loosen stuff up and correct it? No, they'd whack it with a hammer to make the adjustment. George Skelton says Forest River is an RV manufacturing company,
Okay.
recreational vehicle.
See, thank you, folks. Appreciate it. We
Thank you,
promise
George.
next
We
year
have
will
we
be
have
better.
the best fans.
We do. And a couple of them stand out. One is Jeff Heitzman, and the other is George Skelton. Yeah.
Yep.
Who I went to grade school with, and middle
Well,
school and high school.
The Emmons brothers listen weekly.
Yes, they did. Yeah. Yeah. And George's family goes back a ways because his dad ran the Metropolitan Theater downtown.
Yeah, he posts stuff up about that every now
very
and
cool.
then.
Very cool stuff.
Yeah. And, when we went to school together, I had no clue.
Of what his dad did?
Yeah, you really didn't talk that much about what your dad did. Nobody ever asked the question. You just it was a given.
7 or 8 years old, you don't care.
You
Oh,
could-
see,
yeah.
that's different when I grew up because we were a General Motors family. The family next door were Ford. The guy across the street was Ford, and then there was a Chrysler guy over here, and then there was, it was a neighborhood.
very
of,
common.
Yeah, a neighborhood of automobile factory workers that what your dad did, and then of course the kids get involved in it somehow as well. But yeah, down the street, another General Motors guy. He worked at the tech plant, and this guy worked at this factory, and da 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 da.
Was your first job at GM?
Well, growing up, 14, 15, you'd work at burger joints and stuff like that.
Right.
But yeah.
When you turned
of age,
16?
I worked at a steel mill. My first job was at a steel mill, a Great Lakes Steel. They made the steel for the doors, the safety components of an inside door of a Chrysler. And, have got the bars and things at the windows all.
The side
They-
impact protection.
They made the steel for that. And then I got into where my dad worked for Fisher Body. And worked there for
What happened
summers.
to those plants? What happened to the Fisher Body
Fisher
plant?
Body's no longer there, and that was the time.
Is there
where
something in that building now?
I think it's just vacant, a vacant lot. I think I haven't been there in years.
Well, it's kind of
but
like
we,
Flint, Michigan, is most of that's vacant.
yeah. Well, what we did was we made from the firewall back the interior Fisher Body, the Fisher interior, and then they would ship those component or that finished doors, painted roof, everything. Radios, everything inside, they would ship that over to the Cadillac plant, and they would marry the chassis to it with the fenders and the hood and all that for the front.
So they had a jig that they married to the body to get it over there.
Yeah, it was right on a jig, and they would take it off and then
Right.
put it on. But I did the when you push a button in a glove box and the trunk popped up, that mechanism in the trunk, I put the cover on that,
Oh, wow.
and it was 3 screws with a pneumatic, and it was every third job. So you would do bing, 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 3, and then you would go sit down. And you go 1, 2.
get
That was
back
mine.
up again.
Zing, 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 and you go sit down.
And there's 2 other guys that are doing the exact
Number
same
1
thing.
and number 2, yeah,
Doing number 1 and number 2?
yeah. And I was doing 3.
I've never heard of 3.
I would get so bored.
So who was the
Drive me
number
up the
1?
wall.
Who's projected to be the number 1 in sales in 2022?
In car sales,
Cars and trucks.
Ford.
Yeah, we're gonna say Ford.
General Motors. General Motors is projected to sell 2.25 million vehicles in 2022, which is up 2.3%. Now, this is according to Cox Automotive's forecast. And that is a 14.6 share of the market in 2021 and a 16.3 share of the market in 2022. Now, when I went to work for General Motors, we had over 50% of the market back in the 80s. They've done such a good job, they're down to 16% of the market.
Well,
And
in today's world, you say that they're only down to 16%. They've done
Well, the other thing is that there is no more Oldsmobile and there is no more Pontiac.
there's no more Hummer. There's no more Saab. You know, there's quite a few of the brands.
Was it
that are gone.
Saab was a
Saturn.
big mistake. Gee whiz.
Saturn, right?
Yep, Saturn.
So who was number 2 with 15.3% of the market?
Toyota.
Toyota. Ford was number 3 with 1.83 million vehicles with 13.3% of the market. Now, Ford was actually up a little bit in market share. Toyota was down a little bit in market share. Fourth is Stellantis with 11.1% of the market, and they were down 0.7% in market share, which is pretty significant. Hyundai Kia, which are a blended brand, because they share a lot of componentry.
But you know what? They managed to make their cars look different.
They do.
Yep.
Like unlike General Motors, they didn't.
Yeah.
No.
And I've been seeing a lot of the Hyundai Electrics out. I have.
The
been.
Ioniq 6.
Yeah. Yep.
Are you going to do the car clinic?
That's kind of what I'm doing now.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And then so
It's not much of a clinic.
Hyundai,
Yeah, I got to make
Hyundai
different
Kia
notes
was
now.
10.6% of the market. Honda, which was down 2.7%, is only 7.1% of the market. And they were from calendar year 2022 to calendar year 2021, they were actually down 24% in sales. Man. Which is huge.
Yeah.
Volkswagen was down 13% in sales for a total market of 4.3%. Subaru was down 5% in sales for a total market of 3.9%. Tesla was up 48% for a total market of 2.3, which is a lot, in considering it's just pure EV.
Well, because everybody panicked and thought that, the $5 or $10 gallon of gas, the way to go is electric. Then they went out and bought all these electric cars, and they're going, might not have been the smartest thing I'd ever did.
BMW is 2.6% of the market. They were off 0.1%. Daimler was 2.5% of the market, and they were up 0.3%. Mazda was down 0.1% for 2.1% of the market. Geely, what's Geely? Isn't it a Japanese or a
No, it's
Chinese car?
Geely. Fred Geely.
who does Geely? What cars do they
It's not
make?
India, is it?
I don't know. Let me look.
I think it's
Geely.
India.
They were 0.8% of the market, and then Tata was 0.5% of the market. Rivian is 0.1% of the market. And I was kind of surprised that they say Rivian in 2022 sold almost 19,000 vehicles.
Really?
I've not seen a Rivian.
I haven't
Just
either.
at
on the
the
street.
Not in a
no,
while.
just at the shows.
They had didn't they have a didn't
Autorama.
John have a Rivian over there at Gulf Coast Auto Shield when we were there?
That might
He
have been
did,
the only
yeah.
one I've seen on
Yeah.
the street.
We
there.
saw one at
you're right.
Autorama last year too.
And then Lucid, they said they sold 2,500 vehicles for 0% of the market.
Volvo. Geely.
Makes the Tata. Oh, the Geely.
Geely makes Volvos, Polestars, Proton, and Lotus.
Wow.
Oh, so that's the corporate
Not
name.
many
then.
of them. So
And the Proton.
So the market itself for 2022 is 13.86 million vehicles, off 8%, that's pretty significant
Yeah,
for
it is.
the total market to be down 8%.
Yeah.
Because you got to think it wasn't, 15, 16 when they were doing 19 million vehicles a year?
And now with the interest rates up, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, some of this, my opinion, why some of these were up and some of them were down so much was driven by inventory. This whole chip shortage. We talked about it when we went to NHRA.
Yep.
Every time we drove past that Honda store, there was nothing at that Honda
Nothing.
store.
Not even used cars.
And to this day, there's still not much at that Honda store. And I think Honda may have taken the biggest blast in this, in the chip shortage. Even when you look at who was down by what, Honda was down by 33% in in their car sales versus 21 versus 22.
Now, who's this survey produced by?
Cox Automotive Forecast.
They're huge. Cox Automotive is huge.
Right.
So there's that, my friend.
There it is. Oop, there it is.
Oop, there it is. What are we going to do next week, Mr. Mars? Anything exciting?
Who aren't we going to talk to?
We're still working on that. We're gonna remember the gentleman that was over in England that we talked to about.
Yes.
Cobalt.
Yeah, that couldn't. We had a little problem
The
with our
resources for
communication.
EVs.
And no, the guy about the do-it-yourself, how to maintain your car. He had a book and stuff, so we got him lined up again. Now that we've got our issues resolved. Bobby Sparkman's going to join us next weekend.
Oh, that's
cool.
right. Yeah,
Ah,
we're gonna
so
talk about
are we
the
going
hotline
to get
today.
the official announcement?
Yes.
I know the date's been announced, but the route hasn't. Is
Correct.
he going to give us the route?
He's still got, when I talked to him 2 days ago, he's still got a couple of things that he's waiting to get finalized.
He needs to give us the route. You guys are going back to the same drag strip. I saw he had said that.
Oh, we are?
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's a couple of the stops that are going to be the same.
The
Just
drag
because
strip was tons of fun.
well, that's what he said. So there's a couple of things
to
that are
interject
popular.
on your point with Bobby that since this last road trip, it has increased, and he's getting more and more and more newcomers to his site and people that he's thanking to be on there.
The Hot Rod Tour
It's-
of Texas.
It's going to be huge. It's going to be huge.
Yeah, it's going to be a
It will
monster.
Yeah, it will.
We're still kind of talking to him about trying to figure out it because it moves so much and so fast. Because that's what it is. It's a tour. Trying to figure out how we could set up some sort of broadcast to kind of get a little bit more engaged in it. And but yeah,
My guess would have to be a stop, an overnight stop somewhere, so we
yeah.
could talk.
So we're still kind of working on that.
And Don would need to know where they're going ahead of time, and he could get there.
I'm
Well,
going.
he's going to be
I
on
know
the
he's
tour.
going, yeah.
Yeah, I'll be on my way. So I'm going, like it or not. That's just the way that it is. All right. Time now to take a quick break, and we are going to wrap up today's In Wheel Time Car Talk Show right after these brief messages. So stay with us. Your friends and hosts of the quarterly Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In at the Lupi Tortilla in Katy want to thank you for participating in this year's events and look forward to another exciting year. You'll hear about the next Tailpipes and Tacos right here and online soon. Next time you're in West Houston, be sure and stop in at the original Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex near I-10 and Highway 6, or the Katy location off I-10 and the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard. Traveling east to Beaumont or northwest to College Station, you'll want to have Lupi's award-winning beef fajitas and frozen margaritas. There's always a celebration at Lupi Tortilla. Lupi founder Stan Holt and his wife Sheila are car people through and through. Both are winning racers on the NHRA drag racing circuit and have a collection of cars that everyone appreciates. You'll see one at the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In. The next event will be in the spring at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex on 99, the Grand Parkway and Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 and Katy. We'll give you all the details soon here on the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show and online. You own a car you love. Well, why not let Gulf Coast Auto Shield protect it? Houstonian John Gray invites you to his state-of-the-art facility to introduce you to his specialist team of auto enthusiasts. We promise you'll be impressed. Whether you're looking to massage your original paint to a like-new appearance, apply a ceramic coating, install a paint protection film, nano-ceramic window tint, or new windshield protection called ExoShield, Gulf Coast Auto Shield is where Houston's car people go. Curbed your wheels? Instead of buying new, why not have them repaired? How about a professionally installed radar detector? Gulf Coast Auto Shield does that too. Get a peek inside the shop and look at the services offered by getting online and heading to gcautoshield.com. Better yet, stop by their facility at 11275 South Sam Houston Tollway, just south of the Southwest Freeway, and get a personal tour. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is your place to go for all things exterior. Call them today, 832-930-5655 or gcautoshield.com. The award-winning In Wheel Time Car Talk Show is available on the most popular podcast channels out there in 30-minute episodes. We realize our 3-hour live show can be difficult to catch in its entirety, so now you can listen every day to a convenient, fresh 30-minute episode. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Audible, along with a dozen more. In Wheel Time has the most informative automotive guest interviews and new car reviews, along with popular features including Conrad's Car Clinic and This Week in Auto History, along with automotive news headlines. Our live broadcast airs every Saturday, 8 to 11 Central on InWillTime.com, the iHeart app, and on YouTube. Be sure to say hello when we're broadcasting from the Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In, Autorama, and the Houston Auto Show, among others. Now, it's easier than ever to hear about all things automotive all week long. You're invited to join fellow car enthusiasts in becoming part of the ever-growing In Wheel Time Car Talk family. Don't forget those 30-minute podcast episodes on your favorite podcast channel. Well, that's a wrap for this week's In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. When you're on Facebook, check out our page, please. Give us a like, tell your friends about us, and share our junk if you would. You'll get Conrad's unicorn hunting features all week long, along with all things automotive, including new car reviews, upcoming events, cruise-ins, racing events, and other informative and entertaining goodies. I just threw that in there.
Yep.
You can find the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show 24/7 on the iHeart Radio app. Be sure and catch In Wheel Time Car Talk on our live video stream on Facebook, YouTube, and InWheelTime.com every Saturday, 8 to 11 Central Time. 30-minute podcasts are available daily over a dozen of the most popular podcast providers. In Wheel Time Chief Engineer is David Ainsley. Our Marketing Advertising Manager and Video Technical Director is We Need More Jeff Zekin. For Booking Agent and Podcast Editor, Mr. Mike Out of This World Mars, and Mr. Know-It-All, His Royalty King Conrad DeLong. I'm Don Armstrong. Today's In Wheel Time Car Talk Show is produced by Ron Stein and the Institute of Life Experiences and Knowledge.
All right.
Be sure and join us again for the next live 3-hour In Wheel Time Car Talk Show, Saturday, January 7th, 2023, beginning at 8 a.m. Central Time on all of our In Wheel Time Car Talk outlets. Have a great New Year's weekend. Stay safe, and we'll see you next year.